Players booting up, excited to see what Todd and crew brought from P. Dual sense buzzing in hand. This ship's about to land. Game loads in, what a surprise. Can't believe I believe those lies. The game runs great, I'm losing myself. Todd blessed it like a Holy Ghost. But then it crashed, Starfield crash. PS5 or Pro, it don't matter. Todd's work will surely shatter all hopes and dreams without delay. Breaking hearts, but he'll still run away with your money, your hopes, your dreams, and then Starfield will just go and crash again. It crashed, Starfield crash. PS5 or Pro, it don't matter. Todd's work will surely shatter. It was said that Luke was too mean, that Todd's tales would soon be seen to be true and honest and clean and pure. But it turns out the port's just a pile of manure. It crashed, Starfield crash. PS5 or Pro, it don't matter. Todd's worth will surely shatter all hopes and dreams without delay. Breaking hearts, but he'll still run away with your money, your hopes, your dreams, and then Starfield will just go and crash again. It crashed, Starfield crash. PS5 or Pro, it don't matter. Todd's work will surely shatter. Oh Todd, what the actual hell is wrong? Oh Emil, someone do something. It crashed, Starfield crash. PS5 or Pro, it don't matter. Todd's work will surely shatter all hopes and dreams without delay. Breaking hearts, but he'll still run away with your money, your hopes, your dreams, and then Starfield will just go and crash again. It crashed, Starfield crash. PS5 or Pro, it don't matter. Todd's work will surely shatter. It crashed, Starfield crash. PS5 or Pro, it don't matter. Todd's work will surely shatter.
Welcome everybody. Welcome. I know I said I was like, we're done. We're done talking about Starfield. We're done with it. We're done. And then you just know, there's got to be more. There's got to be a little period on the end of the sentence, and that's where we're at today. So we'll touch on that. Don't worry, we won't spend a lot of time on it. But I think the fandom is officially going through the 5 stages of grief. Some are still in the denial phase. Others are moving on to like acceptance. But either way, we'll talk about it. Real quick, shout out to a mod I may have to install for Resident Evil Requiem. I saw this and it just looks fire. Lau posted this. I like when mods for Resident Evil Requiem stop making sense because why the F is Grace breaking wooden boxes with her head? It's a mod that just changes the animation for breaking open boxes into a head. But oh my God. My lungs are not happy today. I need this in my life. Why? I don't know, but it looks, I like it. It's more immersive this way. Doesn't it just feel right? It just feels right. I saw that. I was like, I might need to do that. Also, shout out to this. I don't know if you guys saw this, but this went a bit viral. I don't know what the standard is for viral anymore. Like, I mean, 1 million views on Twitter is like 500 YouTube views. Like, it's kind of like Monopoly money. It's like TikTok views, you know? Like, as somebody that gets millions of views a month on TikTok, it's like Monopoly money. Like, it doesn't really mean much of anything at the end of the day. But like, what is the new standard for viral? Because back in the day, it was like when a video went over 1 million, that's viral. But nowadays, I feel like that doesn't really mean much, you know? So I don't know what the standard is. But either way, a lot of people saw this post, and it's because it looks really, really good. Indie Game Joe posted, this solo indie dev spent 10 years making an RPG that looks 3D, but is actually 2D. The camera can shift away from orthographic to perspective views. Depth is simulated using parallax and warped sprites, hand-painted semi-open world. Look at this. It's called Bridgebourn. Watch this. Watch this. This is crazy. So, Oh, overworld? Okay, that's cool. But as you like explore, okay, that's interesting. Wait, what's this? What? And like, I don't know if you saw that. The wind is actually like blowing the little clouds on the map. What? What? How cool is that, dude? How cool is that? What? Yeah, he made the flat earth. It's flat earth the game. Oh my god. Sorry, I ran out of Robotessen, which has been how I've been surviving, not hacking up a lung. But now all I have is Robotessen DM, which is like the nighttime one that makes you like hella drowsy. So I don't want to play that dangerous game where I take something that's gonna make me droopy and drowsy and then like pass out on stream. But anyway, yeah, this looks freaking fire. And I've got a theory. A game theory. Okay, I think as gaming hardware and firepower becomes more and more ubiquitous, everybody has access now to like what was just a few years ago really high-end gaming like hardware and devices. Even in terms of cloud streaming, the fact that you can stream to your phone like a 5080 level quality through like GeForce Now. I think that's now the standard, is that we can really crank it. Of course, not everybody has a gaming PC that's that high power, but I think a lot of development is being done with the assumption people have access to that in 2-3 years, right? But I think as that becomes more standard, games with highly stylized art styles and very, very unique presentation styles, I think these are going to become the games that stand out every year. Like for the PS4 generation, it was about cranking fidelity. So it was about like, hey, can we get God of War looking photorealistic across the board? Yes, we can. Awesome. I think in the next 5 to 10 years, people will start to see that every game, every indie game, every AA game is able to achieve crazy high fidelity with like Unreal Engine. And games that have very, very strong art styles like this are going to stand out all the more. Seeing this, like, I'm going to remember this game in a month and a half, in 2 months, whatever. I'm probably not going to remember one of the next photorealistic extraction shooters that, you know, we've seen 1,000 times before, you know? I think this is how you stand out nowadays. It's not about higher fidelity textures. It's not about cranking every dial on Unreal Engine 5. It's going to be about unique presentation and art styles. Because I see this and I want to explore this world. I've seen a lot of open worlds in Unreal and I'm like, meh, you know, but this gets me really, really excited. So anyway, shout out to that. Like I said, it is called Bridgebourn. You should check it out. It is available for wishlist on Steam if you want to keep an eye on it. Because as always, if you wishlist something, it's not a commitment. It just puts you on the list to be notified when the game goes on sale. So why not? Also, maybe we talked about this, maybe we didn't. I don't think we did. I totally missed this. Apparently Elder Scrolls Blades is being shut down. This was like Todd's big like mobile game for Elder Scrolls. I don't know if you remember this, but when it was revealed, it was one of the few times Todd made a really raunchy joke on stage. Blades reveal.
We wanted an experience that we were not finding anywhere else.
So just to be clear, he showed this off at E3 2018, which means this game was announced, like revealed, released, supported, and is going to be shut down all before in the same time as one trailer for Elder Scrolls 6. And we still don't have that game.
Here it is. Blades, at its heart, is a pure Elder Scrolls game. A massive first-person RPG with console-quality graphics.
I'm going to say, if you ever played this, you'll know that that's not true.
With a uniquely mobile experience. Believe me when I say you have to see this running on an iPhone 10. This gigantic screen does not do it justice. You can
Also, how on earth does that make sense? Like, I get it's a stage presentation, but he's like, you have to see it on a phone. This massive screen doesn't do it justice. What do you mean it doesn't? That's literally like, I can see way more detail on that thing than a little iPhone 10. What are you talking about?
Tap to move or use dual sticks. Combat is all new, and it follows your specific movements and timings. Harkening back to the first Elder Scrolls Arena, this game features both handcrafted.
This game features basically none of that.
And procedurally generated dungeons. And it's not just melee. You have a range of abilities and spells.
Just wait till he flips it
use.
vertical. Just wait.
And of course, you can create your own character and be who you want to be. Improving them, leveling up, picking new abilities. And the entire game can be played in portrait mode. That one was incredibly important to us, that you could play it however you wanted. You never know when you'll need a free hand.
Todd. So anyway, it's dead. It's dead. It's dying, and it's going to be shut down in, I think, they said June, end of June. So, yeah, there you go. There you go. It's dead. Also, just so you guys know, I will probably have to run frantically upstairs at some point on stream because I have somebody coming to replace one of our windshields. Okay. So I got to like let him into the car and everything. But yeah, if I frantically like, oh God, that's what it is. Okay. Anyway, that's Elder Scrolls Blades. And apparently it is shutting down. As you can see, after 6 years, Elder Scrolls Blades is shutting down in June. Bethesda's made everything in the RPG super easy to unlock for the remaining time. Thank you for playing. No word on an offline mode. I don't think there will be one. Otherwise, they would have said it. Yeah, all items in the store will be available for 1 gem or 1 sigil each. Players receive a free bundle of gems and sigils so you can enjoy all the content. So they basically unlocked all the content for everybody. But yeah, it's being shut down, and they're gonna take it offline. So there you go. I missed it. I don't know anybody personally who's played this. I know a lot of people that tried it when it first launched, and it was like, because it had kind of like this city builder mechanic and some other stuff, but it's a mobile game. Like it was about extracting cash, and so I remember trying it for like 45 minutes because I was like, oh, I'll make a video on this. And it was so like bland, I couldn't even justify spending the time. But there you go. Now nobody else will have to play it either. Problem solved, I guess. So there you go. I didn't even know it existed. Oh, well, I'm not saying you're part of the problem, but definitely not part of the solution. Tell you that. Loxy, did you see the interview Pete Hines did where he was talking Microsoft and blaming them for all of Bethesda's worries and woes? Yes, I did see his interview. I'm gonna be real. None of what he said was like particularly surprising. If like Pete Hines started at BGS, and then he climbed the ranks through ZeniMax and reached the point of like global marketing director or vice president of marketing. It was a title like that, like a high position at ZeniMax, for sure. But I don't think was happy with the sale to Microsoft. That was pretty clear from the moment it happened. They always would have panels of people talking about how excited they were for the new partnership. Like Todd would do those talks, but Pete was never like in those talks because I think Pete was not thrilled about it. Pete, I think, liked the idea of a small company being tight knit, being privately owned and operated. He did not like going big corpo, and that's exactly what happened. And so when it happened, he kind of checked out and then retired, which doesn't surprise me. I hope he got like a big bag or something. because if you're not familiar, basically when there's a privately held company, you'll sometimes get like equity if you're a high position in the company, even though it's not publicly traded. So your shares, you can't like sell on Robinhood or Fidelity or something. What you'll do is you'll get those shares, and if it ever goes public, you can cash out there. You can sell it to other people, like other stakeholders and shareholders, but and get profit sharing, equity disbursements and stuff. But I'm hoping what happened with him is that he got some stock options. They sold to Microsoft, and he walked away with like a few $1,000,000 to retire with. I hope that's what happened. It's possible he didn't get any equity. Like if you're wondering, you notice Todd all of a sudden seemed to start wearing really fancy watches right after the ZeniMax sale. I do not think that's a coincidence. And I respect it because I love nice watches. I'm a watch collector myself. Okay. I respect it. It's why we watch Neil's watches. We sure do, because Neil has nice watches. And am I jealous? Yeah. 1,000%. 1,000% I am. Hold on. Where's the jingle? Here it is. You know, because it's important to remember.
Neil has a lot more money than you. He's better than us. We're poor.
It's important to remember that. But I think it's not a coincidence that some higher ups within ZeniMax did get big payouts when they sold. Not like, you know, billions, because there were a lot of people who owned stakes in the company. But like Todd, I wouldn't be surprised if Todd had got, you know, several millions, if not tens of millions from all of that. Like I would not be surprised about that at all. And I think he probably deserves it. I mean, he built BGS, which was one of the major, if not the major asset in that $7+ billion acquisition. So I think Todd should get a good chunk of change from that. But I don't know if Pete did. And so if he didn't get the big payout, and he's also perturbed that they sold in general, thinking they shouldn't have done that, I don't blame him for being kind of bitter and upset about it. Working in a privately held company and a small company is very different than working for a $4 trillion behemoth. You know, it's a very different animal. So it's a different beast. I don't blame him. I do not blame him. Neil has a lot more money than me. Yes. And he is better than you because you are poor. Yes. Excuse me. Sorry. My lungs are exploding. Maybe he only got a watch. Maybe. I have it on good authority. People that have been around Todd, let's just say that Todd's got some nice stuff. Todd's got some nice cars. Todd's well equipped, and I think he should be. To be clear, being a legend of the industry, being behind some of the biggest, most successful games in gaming history, he should have a fat stack, some Scrooge McDuck money. I think that's only fair. My hope would be any game developer that does a great job for years ends up rich. That would be my hope. You know, like the guy that makes Stardew Valley, that makes one game, but it's so good that he ends up being a multi-millionaire. That's awesome to me. I'm like, yes, motivate people to make small indie games and AA games and to take risks and do crazy stuff. You should be rich if you make something amazing like that. But that's just, you know, a piece of the puzzle. When you take a company that was private, sell it to a big corporation, you got to be ready for things to not work the way that they used to, which is inevitably what happens. Anyway, Todd was in the chess club. Who's laughing now? That's a great question. That is a great question. I heard he's starting a candle company. We can only hope. One day I'll do that. Don't you worry. Starfield has been doing well on Steam charts since Tuesday. Yeah, well, we're gonna touch on that real quick because I, of course, did not buy another copy on PlayStation, but it's come to my attention that a lot of people are having trouble with the game on PlayStation. I guess let's talk about that real quick, and then we'll get into the other news tidbits, the Rockstar hack, all of that stuff, because there's actually a surprising amount of tidbits like that. Okay. New mini segment thing. So I was ready again. I'm sorry. I was ready to be done with Starfield, but we have to touch on this. Apparently the PlayStation port of the game is pretty busted. I didn't realize this, but because I'm not going to buy another copy of the game. like, obviously I'm good, but apparently it's got a lot of issues. I asked some of you guys if any of you had tried it, and some of you on our Discord server did mention it. So Taylor Moon, for example, I asked, has anybody been playing Starfield on PS5? I'm gonna have to turn off chat for this just so you can see. Yeah, that's good enough. It has crashed countless times. I have a friend who died or downloaded the base game first and didn't have a problem. I bought the premium edition, so the DLC pre-installed with the base game, and it has been a nightmare to play. At times I've had at least 3 different saves become corrupted, needing to reload a much earlier part of the game. For example, the autosave feature created a save when returning to Jemison after the contraband scanned and opening the planet map to land at the starport. The game would be stuck perpetually loading, reloaded from the autosave and tried again, same result. Bethesda game having corrupted saves on PlayStation. Welcome back to the PS3 era. Lego Frodo, not on PS5, but on Xbox, I've been having a few crashes. Also a lot of missions not complete if the criteria was fulfilled, or mission objectives that don't lead to any location, such as place a gas sensor, nowhere to place a gas sensor. I couldn't even finish Shattered Space back when it came out because when I went back to report on a quest, the character dialogue just quit working. And also, similarly, Destin, we won't watch this whole thing, but I just want to show that Destin also had the same problems. You should watch his full video on it.
Be this bad, but I have to would be this bad.
Come on.
I did not think it would be this bad, but I have to be honest, I cannot recommend Starfield on the PlayStation right now. There have been some reports going around that there are some major issues with the game, and you know, sometimes the internet can be the internet, sometimes it can be a little bit hyperbolic. So I tested it for myself.
True.
And I thought, hey, let's see what's going on. This is 6 minutes into gameplay.
6 minutes.
I am playing with VSync off. I am playing, I believe it was performance mode. The game freezes and locks up. 6 minutes into gameplay.
I'm going to wait another 19 months. Maybe then, but if they fix it the same way they fix the Fallout thing, they'll just delist it from PlayStation. Like, see, now it's not broken. It just isn't there anymore. Let's say yeah, it's bad. And you notice he said, I don't have VSync turned on. So what's basically happening is on like the Starfield subreddits, including and especially the no salt or no sodium Starfield subreddit, where yours truly is not very popular. On those subreddits, they are telling people that in order to avoid these problems, stop using autosaves, go into the graphics settings. There's multiple things to tweak within the graphics settings, like VSync, like changing from performance down to fidelity mode, things like that. They're telling them to go through and tweak all of these things. Some people are saying don't open the game's map when you're in the ship, but rather only use the planet engagement button. So like on, I don't know what's on controller, but like, you know, where you lock on to a planet and then I think it's it's E, and then you hold down E or X to land on it, like, and open up the planet map by holding R. They're telling you how to go through these hoops to avoid it crashing. And it's just so insane to me that people are like accepting that that's just how, no, that's how you play the game. You just, yeah, autosaves? No, just don't use those. That's bad idea. Yeah, fix it by don't playing it. This is basically the suggestion. And he goes through numerous other ones. Again, I don't want to step on the video, but he points on many others that people have also found. Multiple crashes on PlayStation, multiple times of save files being corrupted, people having to roll them back significantly, which is just absolutely wild. Over on Steam, there's also similarly on PC, there's a lot of mixed results in terms of like overall hours that they've put into it. People having trouble getting the game to run properly. Some people just complaining about being repetitive, about like this new faction being introduced as a major faction that's a threat to the galaxy, but you can finish the main story stuff within 2 hours. So it's like not much of a threat. But to me, it's just another example of how if Bethesda thinks that they can get away with something, they will. And it's because the standards they are held to by their fandom are significantly lower than the standards that the rest of the gaming industry and community wants to hold them to and hold everybody else to. And we've brought it up plenty of times before. There's the obvious comparisons where you can be like, if Ubisoft did this, they'd be roasted alive. If they did this over at EA, they'd be roasted alive. And I think that those things are true. But whether we like it or not, there are double standards in the industry. Whether you like it or not, usually the double standards are justified because of something else. Like if you are capable of putting together a masterpiece narratively with like Red Dead 2, I think the industry is generally okay if your pricing model in Red Dead Online is a bit aggressive. You know, same thing with like GTA Online with GTA 5 or what will eventually be GTA 6. I think people are willing to put up with some bad if this other thing is so good. The problem with Bethesda stuff recently is that you're not getting the other side of it. It's just all bad and the good is limited. And a bunch of you guys sent me this. I wanted to touch on it. I think this guy seems like a nice guy. I think he seems passionate. Of course, I don't want to brigade or anything. He's putting out his opinion, but I think what he's about to express is precisely the reason Bethesda games have stagnated so terribly in the last decade and why they'll continue doing this stuff, because their fans are not holding them to account and are actively making excuses for them. This post in particular, the hypocrisy of the loading screen argument, is so hilarious when you look at Mass Effect and KOTOR and how no one ever complained about the loading screens, lack of space flight, or lack of manual ship landings and takeoffs compared to Starfield. I'll let him, this is the clip he posted, so I'll let him explain it and then I will provide my thoughts, okay? Because effectively what he's saying is when you look at these games, people weren't complaining about the same things they complained about Starfield. So therefore, Starfield is being held to an unfair standard, and that's unreasonable.
Oh yeah, there was no space travel. You're not wrong, Hanny 330. There was no space travel in Mass Effect, no space travel in Knights of the Old Republic. No one ever gave a shit about those games not having space exploration. They also didn't give a shit about those games not having manual landing and takeoff, despite the fact that you had a ship.
You do not want to go outside the city.
Right? You had a ship in Mass Effect. You had a ship in Knights of the Republic 1 and 2. All four of the Mass Effect games had ships. And not a single person ever made a complaint about how there was no ship combat, no manual landing, no manual takeoffs. You just got landing scenes and cutscenes and loading screens. And no one complained about loading screens or any of that shit. It is a fake, made-up agenda.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Fake and made-up agenda. I don't know what the insinuation is calling it an agenda. Because that makes me think of like, you know, it just makes me think that it's like some sort of cohort of like Star Citizen fans that are like, we're threatened by Starfield. Let's form an agenda to take the game down, bring up ridiculous requests like interplanetary travel, intraplanetary travel. Oh God. Like, what's the insinuation? Like, just say it. If you think that there's like some cohort, I think realistically what he's suggesting is that there's nasty YouTubers who just like to hate on Starfield for no good reason, and that we're being unreasonable and holding the game to an unfair standard. But here's the deal. What are the two games he compares it to? Mass Effect and Knights of the Old Republic. Mass Effect, he says Mass Effect, just the first game. That's a 2007 game. So it dropped 16 years. 16 times earlier.
16 times the detail.
16 years before Starfield would end up dropping. The other one he brings up is Knights of the Old Republic, which dropped in 2003. Which was 20 years before Starfield. And in computer years, that's like a century, dude. Like, talk about just appreciate the technological leap between 2003 and 2023. I mean, it's ungodly the amount of firepower we now have that Starfield was able to utilize. So have the standards changed? Yeah. They damn well better. Like, dude, what are you talking about? The things that you were able to do in 2003 that were impressive for that time are much, like, we take those for granted compared to what we see now. Things that were groundbreaking back then would be considered bare minimum essentials today, especially when it comes to like the AAA scene. So do I think it's an unrealistic expectation? No. And the point is that people are pointing it, and this argument kind of falls apart when you compare it to other games that released and have released, years before even Starfield. So when he brings up manual landing, manual takeoffs, this was something that games like No Man's Sky were able to do in 2016. Granted, that game had problems. But if you're saying that technologically, that, this is an unrealistic expectation, I mean, clearly not. It was doable. Other games like Star Citizen, of course, have had it working for a long time as well. Elite Dangerous, what have you. So it's not a technological issue. You could perhaps say that because of the type of game Starfield is, it's an unrealistic expectation. It's a narrative adventure game or an RPG, a sandbox RPG, whatever you want to, slap a label on Starfield to say it is. But I think the exact point that I brought up earlier is that the double standard has to be justified based on the whole picture. If Starfield had Baldur's Gate 3 level writing and quest interactivity and things, people, I think, would be totally fine if it only had 2 planets and it was all load screens like it is, and there's no interplanetary travel. They'd probably be fine with no ship combat or ship customization if the writing, the choice and consequence and everything was so good that it made up for that. Of course, we'll never know because it's not that good. But I think genuinely, I honestly believe that if they were able to get the quality over here to that level, people would be willing to overlook downsides over here. And I think you can see that throughout the years, that there's plenty of games that have extremely strong aspects that allow players to overlook weaknesses over here. The Witcher 3, people commonly bring up that The Witcher 3, they don't like the combat. It's still an all-time great for those same people, though, because the writing is so good, because the world building is so good, because the questing is so good. They're willing to overlook this weakness because all of this is so strong. And I think that the problem is for something like Starfield is that it just doesn't have anything that's particularly strong. And I think the reason it doesn't have anything that's particularly strong is because there's this general attitude from some, not all, because some members of the fandom I've been thoroughly impressed with who do hold Bethesda's feet to the fire and are like, no, legitimately, they should do better. I still like Starfield. I still enjoy it, but they should be able to do better. And that's what they need. What they don't need is people making excuses by pointing to 20-year-old games. I don't think, and this is why I'm saying this. I think Ren is a legitimate fan, genuinely loves this. Seems like a genuinely nice guy. I think a smart guy, former game dev is my understanding. It seems like a cool guy, but I'm just being real. If you want Bethesda to make better and better games, I don't think this attitude helps them. I don't think pointing to 20-year-old games and saying, well, it's fine because those games also didn't do it. I don't think that will help them do any better. What will help them do better is being like, no, you got to take it up a notch. Like, you got to crank the dials, man. It's 2026. And the thing I've brought up since 2019, I think, was the first time I made a video kind of mentioning this. Elder Scrolls 6 will not release in a bubble, okay? It's very important to understand that. I was gonna do one of the quotes. We exist in the context of what's happening, the context of the world. Elder Scrolls 6 will realistically launch within 6 months of The Witcher 4. Okay. It will realistically launch next to like CDPR's biggest game ever, next to Larian's next game, Divinity. Could launch within a year. Like, do you really think that that's not going to have an impact on expectations? I think it will. I think it will. What this is important to understand, like from my perspective, okay, so this, let me be as accurate as I can be. This is my opinion. What in my opinion, happened back with Fallout 4 that started this snowball of Bethesda games not living up to expectations and hype, okay? What I think happened was in May of 2015, a little game called The Witcher 4 launched. It was considered relatively niche. Not many people have heard or had heard of The Witcher at that point, but it dropped and it was pretty buggy, but it's still reviewed very, very well. Not a lot of people jumped into it yet, though. A month or two goes by, E3 hits, there's a bunch of patches and updates hitting The Witcher 3 all while this is happening, and then a game called Fallout 4 is revealed from BGS. They just came off of Skyrim. Expectations are sky high, hype is through the roof. The game eventually comes out in November of that year, right at around the time that The Witcher 3 is getting like the Hearts of Stone DLC, and they're revving up the next year to drop Blood and Wine. All of this stuff is happening in The Witcher 3's favor, and it's just getting better and better and better. Fallout 4 launches, and specifically in the context of like a narrative RPG, people found it wanting. Not like in terms of gunplay, I think it's pretty solid. As far as like an open world adventure game is concerned, it's pretty solid. It has some cool stuff. But for what people were expecting of it, which was this like narrative RPG, it just was not that. That's not the kind of game it is. It did not deliver on that. Despite them trying some new experimental stuff like voice protagonists, it just didn't work. And a lot of those people who were disenfranchised from what Fallout 4 wasn't decided to go and try The Witcher 3 and were blown away at what CDPR was able to do versus what Fallout 4 was able to do. And I think that framing really shifted things. Specifically, the part of the fandom that liked the narrative role play. And I think that was like the first time that this comparison started to plague Bethesda. Because what happened in 2023, we had Baldur's Gate 3 drop like weeks before Starfield dropped. It's crazy. And I mean, say what you will about Baldur's Gate. I don't think anybody's going to try to say that Starfield is a better role-playing game than Baldur's Gate. You know, and I think that that's just part of the difficulty is that these games don't drop in bubbles or in vacuums. They drop next to other AAA behemoths, and they have to justify themselves against those. They have to show why they're worth playing in comparison. We all kind of cringe at some of the comparison videos, absolutely, when people pull up like a brand new game and then pull up, you know, Red Dead from 2010 and try to do comparison videos. We all can kind of cringe at those, but they're going to happen, and people mentally are going to do that all the time. It's just part of what happens. But I think the expectations are what they have to manage, and the problem for BGS is just simply that like Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be dropping next to what will likely be, not guaranteed, but what will likely be a couple of the biggest and most praised fantasy games probably in history. Like, let's just be real. The Witcher 4, I think that's going to be massive. Whatever Larian, like Divinity, whatever that ends up being, maybe it is like 2032 that we see that. Who knows? But if it launches anywhere near them, those comparisons are going to be made. And that's going to be really, really hard. Do you think anybody's going to be like, well, it's true that there's not really a lot of choice and consequence in the Elder Scrolls 6, but this game from 1993 didn't have it either. Like, do you think anybody's going to give a crap? I don't think so. Like, I think people are going to be like, well, this other game right over there did it better. Now, how do they get away from that realistically? Well, if they reframe it, like if they reframe Elder Scrolls 6 as not at all a narrative RPG, that could help it. I actually think that might be part of the reason that Todd has been shifting away from describing these games as narrative role-playing games. He'll talk about you choose the character you want to be, and you know, he'll phrase things that way. But I don't think he's trying to make out like these are supposed to be true narrative RPGs, because they're not, at least not compared to what you see from some of the other studios out there. So reframing it could help, but that doesn't change the fact that some players will still go into it expecting that. And that's going to be a very big hurdle to overcome. But to wrap all this up, like the Starfield and BGS standards debate, I think there are people that are genuine fans of Starfield that do genuinely enjoy the game. And that's great. And like I said, I think Ren seems like a cool guy, a genuine fan and passionate. I'm just saying tactically, if your goal is to help BGS become a better studio, I don't think this attitude helps them at all. Because this is literally a justification. It doesn't have X, Y, and Z, but that's okay and justified because these two games from 20 years ago didn't have it either. And nobody complained back then. So therefore it's okay. And that I think is like cope. That I think is justification that doesn't help anything. So I think if they want it to be as good as possibly can, you got to hold their feet to the fire. You got to call it out when they do some crappy stuff. A lot of the fandom does, but what seems to have happened is that parts of the fandom are splintering, and so you end up with just denser and denser echo chambers where they move from one subreddit, which is like the Starfield subreddit, that becomes infiltrated with people who are not happy with the way Bethesda's been handling it. So a new subreddit is formed that specifically bans those people from being like upset about the state of the game. And then when there's people there's some people that say, I saw one person say that they were in chat the other day. They were like, yeah, the No Sodium Starfield subreddit is getting infiltrated. They're talking about making another one. What? Like they're going to just go down the rabbit hole further and further and further, making denser and denser echo chambers until eventually they just have their head buried in the sand. I don't think that helps BGS. I don't think it does. I don't think so. Just being real. And eventually, it probably leaves Reddit. It probably goes to like Discord servers. But whenever you wonder how hardcore that is, like, just remember there are dedicated Discord servers for like Skull and Bones, for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. There are dedicated Discord servers for Redfall. Like, the industry is big enough with millions and millions and millions of players that even if there's like 150 people out there on the planet who really like Redfall, they'll find themselves in a Discord server together, okay? I know, because I may or may not have joined one for a video. It's a whole thing. Remember, I made that video on how I got back into Concord? I don't know if you guys saw that, but there is a Discord server of some of the few dozen Concord fans, and they've been doing like data mining and modding to try and get the game running again. And they've gotten parts of it working where you can actually, if you're in this Discord server, you can actually get a version of the game to boot on PC and go into like the training rooms and the development rooms and stuff. It's honestly kind of crazy. But I infiltrated it with a secret Discord account. They don't know I'm in there. But that's even something where there's, even though Concord's literally dead, there's still a Discord server specifically for Concord trying to revive it. Which is crazy. It's just crazy. So, never doubt the power of fandoms. They'll always surprise you. Real quick, Architect, thank you for gifting 5 subs over on Twitch. That's super generous. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you, my friend. The real question is, have you a Luke Stevens low sodium subreddit? I do not. I try with every fiber of my being to not go on Reddit. If I can help it. As far as I'm concerned, like X is pretty bad, Reddit is pretty bad, a lot of like those forums are pretty bad. I just, as far as like it is for me, there's just not a lot of benefit. I think it's bad for your mental health to go on a lot of those places. It's just a bad idea. It's just a bad idea. Gonna be real. Anyway. Let me see these real quick. Thank you again, Architect. That's very generous. 5 subs. That's very generous. Thank you, my friend. Let me read these. Meta, think of it too. So Rockstar got hacked and is getting blackmailed. Yes. They don't seem too concerned. We'll talk about it. But yeah, they did get hacked again, allegedly. Nezrika, thank you for the 5. Maybe he only got a watch. Oh, Todd. Yeah, maybe. It would be funny if he spent every penny he got on watches. That would be funny. Olive and Trees, thank you for the 5. Oh, I know we dunk on low sod star, but it's nice for people to have a place to talk about the game positively. If they like it, the internet can be rough. Yeah, well, that's why I think, like I said, a lot of Discord servers will get created where people will hop in there and kind of congregate. What I think is key though is that Todd said that he's like looked through those subreddits and that he reads those subreddits. And so like we know for a fact that Todd is reading through those, but he's not reading through like the really critical posts because all of those posts are cleaned out. Like mods will ban you if you try to post something really critical or like critical feedback and stuff like that. They do not like that. And so I'm like literally one of the few places where people can have direct contact with Todd, even though they're not, it's not a two-way street. It's a one-way, like Todd sees it, that's it. But even that, like the fact that they will neuter any sort of discussion that's critical, I think is such a waste, because there would be a way for Todd to get like maybe slapped back to reality, but instead it's just nothing like that happens. Let me see. Tony, thank you for the 2. Was thinking about getting Starfield. Now I'm not. At least if you're on PlayStation, wait for patches, because it seems like a lot of people are having problems. The Meeks channel, thank you for the super chat. Hey Luke, keep up the good work. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, glad to have you. Sam Cohen, thank you for the 5. Was watching a streamer play Starfield on PS5 Pro. In the first 5 hours alone, he had 4 crashes. I no longer want to buy it if it'll crash. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. Like that standard should not be accepted. What sucks is that if you're on PlayStation, you don't have any recourse. Like you can request a refund, but Sony's probably not doing it, especially if it happens like 3, 4, 5 hours in. It's probably not happening. Let's see. Sam, thank you for the 5. I stopped my Starfield playthrough to try Phantom Liberty. Jumped into Starfield after finishing Phantom Liberty. Immediately uninstalled Starfield. I mean, Phantom Liberty shows like what cream of the crop, top world-class developer can do with a DLC expansion. And then there's Shattered Space. You know, that's another good comparison where like Phantom Liberty dropped really close to Shattered Space. Like they dropped really close to each other. Dude, night and day. They will refund it if there are crashes. Oh, well, that's good to know, Kino. So maybe people got to try that again. All I've ever heard is that it's a headache and a half to get any sort of refund. Let's see. Hawking, thank you for the 10. And we could have 1 or 2 expansions for Crimson Desert. Yeah, and I mean, the CEO said that they were entertaining multiplayer, so that's a possibility too, like a co-op version or mode or something. I think a lot of that stuff is probably already working because the engine is built as like an MMO engine. So it's built from the ground up. It's not like they have to try very hard. I mean, I'm sure it's very difficult. It's not like they have to rebuild the whole thing to get it working, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if there's like some DLC and expansions, but just seeing how quickly they've worked. Like, I don't know if you guys missed it, but they are literally doing a boss replay mode as part of a free update. So you're going to be able to go back to locations where there's been bosses you've already fought, and you're going to be able to just refight them. And that's a free update. Can you just imagine for a second what they'll be able to do if you give them 6 months? Like, can you even fathom? Like, yeah, they're putting it every other studio to shame, drawn out. Literally, dude, like, it's crazy. I mentioned the other day that somebody sent me a clip. Apparently there was an influencer who got upset that I was phrasing it as Pearl Abyss is making other studios look like they're not even trying, which is a wild thing to be upset about, because you'd think that the bar being raised would be a good thing for the industry in general, but apparently no, that's hurtful to studios who are trying their best and failing. They didn't put it that way, but let's be real, that's basically what it is. They're like, there's other studios that are trying and doing the best work they can, and it's just it's because it's just not realistic to expect this. It's the same energy. It's the same energy as when Baldur's Gate 3 dropped and all of these devs came out, were like, don't expect this from us, okay? The standard, let's maybe not raise the bar too high. Like, which is a crazy thing to say, that, hey, let's not raise the bar. Let's keep it right where it is. Like, it's a crazy thing to say. If you are a genuine fan of the industry, if you're an actual consumer, okay, buying games, your hope should be that the bar is consistently raised, that games do not stagnate and remain the same for 20 years, that they get better and better and better and better. And a studio like Pearl Abyss and Larian with Baldur's Gate 3 and all of these amazing studios out there, they're showing you the bar can be raised. It's just a matter of wanting to and having the resources and dev time to do it. But if it's a goal and priority for the studio and publisher, it can be done. They just have to do it. They just have to do it. Like, push the boundary one way or another. You know? Let's see. Luke, are we paying Concord tax for the new PS5? Oh, I don't. I think the Concord tax has largely been paid, or was largely paid by a lot of the games that were canceled. Because if you recall, there were a bunch of live service games being made by a bunch of other studios around PlayStation's portfolio. And then after Concord, they kind of did a reevaluation and a bunch got cut. So I think effectively what Concord did was it was less of a, we have to make up this money one way or another. And it was more make cuts, level out the budget one other way, because these are not as safe a bet as we thought. So I don't think so. I think more realistically what it is let's just be honest. PlayStation was already considering raising prices because of higher cost to manufacture. If they have an option between raising the price today before the launch of GTA 6 and after the launch of GTA 6, when are they going to raise it? Probably before. Because they know a whole hell of a lot of people, maybe not you, but a lot of more casual gamers that have not upgraded to this gen are going to flood the stores to buy PlayStation 5s for GTA 6. So they'd rather just get the price hike in now so people are used to it, and so that they pay it when the game comes out. So I think it's more that. It's more of a GTA 6 tax than anything else. Let's be real. How crazy is it going to be next year when we're not talking about this omnipresent, like, droning Cthulhu-esque thing over the industry? For the last 2 years, it's just been GTA 6. Well, this studio's scared because of GTA 6. They got to move this because of GTA 6. In a year, hopefully, that will no longer be a thing. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's see. The Nerdy Giant, thank you for the 5. So Mouse PI for hire, review still nothing. Also looks like Rockstar hack is a nothing burger. It sounds like they got a very specific sliver of data that Rockstar is not that concerned about. It is not a leak like was it 2022 or 2021? It's not a leak like that. There were some big leaks a few years ago. This does not seem to be that. It seems like they are claiming they have the marketing schedule. I don't know if that's true. I mean, and also, does that really matter? Like, let's say they do hypothetically have the marketing schedule and it says like trailer 3 on this day and trailer 4 on this day. They could just upload it the day before or the day after if they really care. Like, do they care? I don't think they care. I still do not see why that's a big deal. It was the same thing like when the Insomniac leaks happened and there were all of these leaks about the Wolverine game, like early development footage of the Wolverine game, and people were like, do you think they're gonna cancel it? I was like, why? Does anybody think honestly that people are going to like not buy the game because they saw early development footage of it years before? Like, I don't see why that would be a big deal, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not as sensitive to it as I should. Maybe that's it. As for Mouse PI for Hire reviews, I think they're coming soon. The game comes out Thursday, I believe. Thursday, the 16th. So they still have time. Let's see. Did I read that one? I read that one. Kyle, thank you for the 5. When was the last time Todd announced something that didn't lead to a disaster, disappointment, or massive discourse? Even ES4R was, so Oblivion Remastered, was left with issues. Well, I think that, again, the magic of shadow dropping a remaster, whatever, is that you don't give people time to be upset or find problems. It's good for the company, probably bad for the consumer in the long run, especially because they don't have time to make a truly informed decision. It just turns into a wave of hype. I would say that was probably the last time that there was a release that was received very, very positively. Long term, of course, there's been problems. It has all sorts of technical issues even to this day. But I think that the vast majority of the discourse was positive. You know? Because people just rushed in, bought it, called it good. I think if they had done like a 2-month marketing campaign and previews and stuff, I think it would have been a headache. So, Luke, are you not reviewing Pragmata? I am not reviewing Pragmata. I am not. No. I had to make a choice between projects for this week and last week, and I made my choice. So... No Pragmata video for me. Gaming Night, thank you for the 10. Very generous. Hey, Luke, I know this is random, but I remember you mentioned a podcast called Tom Brown's Body. What are your thoughts? I do think the mom did it, if I remember correctly. Oh, yes, Tom Brown's Body. That podcast. Yeah, anybody who's not familiar, there's a really good podcast called Tom Brown's Body. It's a story from Canadian Texas of a young man who went missing like the day before Thanksgiving, and it's very thoroughly confusing and baffling. And I didn't know this. There's apparently an update as of 2025. What?
This is News Channel 10.
At 5, new forensic evidence has emerged in the case of Thomas Brown.
A re-examination of Brown's skeletal remains shows at least 2 areas of blunt force trauma. The remains found in rural Hemphill County in 2019 were identified as Brown, who disappeared in November of 2016. Forensic experts say the injuries are consistent with blunt force to the jawbone, cheekbone, and temporal bone area. Investigators note the remains were incomplete and animal activity could have obscured other potential injuries.
Well, that's the first time I hear about that. I didn't hear that update. Anyway, long story short, disappeared. There's multiple theories as to what happened, but basically he was supposed to come home after dropping his friends off. His car is seen driving through like the small town that they lived in very far north Texas. It's called Canadian is the name of the town, small town. So his car is seen driving all over the city in the middle of the night. His friends and family and mom start searching for him and they can't find him. The police start searching for him. He's just gone. Even though he didn't seem particularly distressed or anything. But the next day they find his car parked in next to a water treatment facility, like out in the middle of nowhere. It's very confusing and weird. They eventually find like his backpack. Weeks and months go by. They find like his cell phone in a field in pristine condition where it was not out there for all that time. Somebody planted his phone there. Years later, they find his body off a road miles and miles and miles away from the car, where like technically he could have walked there, but like it would have been a stretch in the middle of the night, like in the cold. he's wearing like a t-shirt and a light pullover. Very, very bizarre case. And there's a couple of theories. Either he went out there and took his own life. There's a theory that he took his own life, but his parents found him and then hid his body out of shame, I guess, because they didn't want him found. There's another theory that he was killed by like some local kids who panicked and then hid his body. Nobody knows what happened to him. It's like an actual whodunit mystery. It's bizarre and absolutely crazy. But this documentary, Tom Brown's Body, is really, really good and breaks it down. I did not know that they had done another analysis of it and found signs of blunt force trauma. That kind of pretty clearly, as far as I'm concerned, points it in one direction. But apparently they still have not classified it as a homicide even still. But that's bizarre. So anyway, if you want to listen to it, it's a very, very good podcast, and it will leave you kind of haunted and thoroughly confused. Thoroughly confused. We actually, in my hometown, we have an unsolved mystery too. That's been like totally bizarre. Nobody knows anything. But yeah, this guy, Paul Gallenstein, he was literally like just out on the Foothills Trail at Reservoir Ridge, and then was just like shot in the middle of the day. This is like 15, 20 minutes from me. And it's totally unsolved. Like, they have no idea. I'm sure they have like leads and stuff, but he was just a guy that was out on a hike. And this is not like a super rural area. This is like, you know, just a popular little trail. And they went out there and went on a hike along Foothills Trail at Horsetooth Reservoir, September 10th, 2023. Knew the path well, walked it many times. Investigators said someone shot and killed him on the trail, and whoever did it still hasn't been found. His wife has been paying for all of the billboards all throughout the city. All throughout the city, you see these. Even to this day, years later, she still is paying for all of these billboards all over the city. It's really tragic, but they still, they don't know who did it. They offer a massive reward. They've been trying to find it, but it's just, it's a mystery. Nobody knows. Hey, I think his wallet was still on him too. Like, it's totally bizarre. But yeah, it's a small world. Lots of mysteries out there. Tell you what, it's absolutely crazy. Anyway, what do I think happened to Tom? To answer your question, seeing that there was blunt force trauma makes me change my mind. For years, I've just thought that he probably went off and took his own life. That's been my assumption, just because I think it explains the most elements. I cannot think of an explanation that explains everything, which is the problem. Like, he could have left his phone in the car, somebody found it, forgot to turn it over to police, panicked, and then planted it. That could explain it. Stupid and a bit of a stretch, sure, but I mean, I think everything else is explained by him doing it to himself. But seeing that there's blunt force trauma, I don't know how to explain that. So I don't know. I have to think now. Anyway, shifting forward, pivoting. Highly recommend the podcast though. Tony Rascon, thank you for the 2. PlayStation's refund system should be illegal. It should be more transparent. Everybody should do what Steam does, in my opinion. 2 hours. If you've not finished, if you've not passed 2 hours and you bought it within the last 2 weeks, you're good. They should just do that. Where's Judas? I don't freaking know, dude. I would love to know. 16th AC4 reveal. That's the rumor, right? The rumor is that they're doing a Black Flag reveal and that there's also potentially a state of play. We'll see. But then also, I think Tom Henderson said he doesn't expect the Black Flag reveal to be at the state of play. He expects them to be different. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I just want to see Corey's game with Faye soon. I would love to see that too. There's rumors and speculation that we should be seeing another gameplay reveal for Intergalactic, for a new Uncharted potentially, Corey's game. Like, we should start to see a lot of stuff relatively soon, in the next like year. So, because bear in mind, like, most studios do not do the Bethesda reveal, drop it within 6 months thing. Most studios do like a year or 2 years of trailers and stuff. So I think it makes sense. It makes sense. 53 nights. Thank you. 12 months. Thank you for everything. Thank you, my friend. Glad to have you here. You're always a joy. Thank you, my friend. Do you think the fans who effectively just want Skyrim 2 for Elder Scrolls 6 are greater than those who want BGS to change their design philosophy? Thank you for the 5. Alex, it's a good question. Like, what does the average person want out of Elder Scrolls 6? I think the average person genuinely doesn't know. I think this is a case of like what Steve Jobs said, which was the consumer doesn't know what they want until I show them. Which is like very hoity-toity and like snotty. I get that. It's Steve Jobs. Is anyone like particularly shocked? But I think that this is just one of those instances where if BGS just tries to do a carbon copy of Skyrim, I think people would be like, this feels outdated and kind of bad. Because things that were okay in 2011 are not as popular or accepted or expected of AAA developers anymore. So I think the standard has changed. Like, what they really need is just vision. And I'm hoping that's what it is. I think Starfield definitely got away from them with being too ambitious, that the tech couldn't keep up and their team couldn't keep up with the vision. But I think if they have proper expectations, they have good scope, and they have vision from Todd, that this is the game we're making from beginning to end, that I think could work out much, much better. Like, to be clear, I expect Elder Scrolls 6 to probably end up being much more coherent as a game than Starfield was. Because I think Starfield was trying to do so many things at the same time that it just struggled with almost every aspect of itself. But I think Elder Scrolls 6 will be much more coherent, which I think will help it a lot. So, anyway. Let's see. Tony, PlayStation's... Oh, I read that one already. Let's see. Nazrika, thank you for the 5. They'll add space travel without loading screens to Elder Scrolls 6. That's how they get you. That's how they get you, man. That's how they get you. Tony, thank you for the membership as well, my friend. Hype Not IQ, thank you for the 5. Luke, do your I tried videos always mean sponsorships? And are there guidelines as to how critical you can be about it? As a fan, I'm just curious. No, it's a good question. Our I trade video is just a series. So a number of the ones I do are sponsored. Some of them are not. Generally, the ones that end up sponsored are games that like are more niche, or the video is probably not going to perform as well. Or it involves like early access or preview stuff where they have to like specifically get me an early build of the game, so I can't just impulsively do it. Like, they are specifically opening a door for me to do this thing. Like Dying Light, when I did the Dying Light The Beast update one, that was them specifically getting me early access to that build to make that video. Other ones though, like Mouse PI for Hire, I did that. I tried just the other day, or like a week ago. I don't remember exactly when it was, but I did that one, and that was just because they hooked me up with access to a demo like a month and a half ago. I tried it, recorded the footage, nothing sponsored. They're like, yeah, you can't, whatever you want to do. But that's that. But for us, and this is, you know, my manager can back it up, we have a standard that in order for me to make a video, an I tried sponsor video, I have to be allowed to say whatever I want to. I have like creative control, quote unquote, of the of what is said, how it's said. Like they cannot tell me, could you be positive about this, please? If they say that, we don't do the deal. Like, no joke, in 2025, our final tally was well over 6 figures of deals we turned down for I tried sponsored videos, because in large part, sometimes there were other reasons, but mostly the reason is because the company doesn't want to give me creative freedom to say whatever I want to say. And that's just a deal breaker. Like, if a studio comes out and says, You have to be this positive. You have to be upbeat. You have to say, this is the best game I've ever seen. Then we're good. Usually it's like, you know, mobile game companies, the big, like, a lot of the big, like, gotcha game, MMO type games, they have those standards where it's, you've probably seen the videos, like the TikTok videos where it's like, this game's art style is the best thing I've ever seen. It's mind blowing. Like that kind of crap. If they have standards like that, I'm like, no, we're just no. I also will say no if I think the game looks like crap. Or there have been times, I think it's happened on 2 or 3 occasions, where everything looks good, we're feeling good, I try the game and I hate it, and I'm like, nope, and we'll back out of it, and we'll tell them like, hey, I have creative control, I can say whatever I want. I could accept like your money for the sponsored video, but my opinion is like kind of rough, and I've got these problems. Am I missing something? And if they're like, no, that's fair. If I'm like just not feeling it and I'm like, I don't even want to make a video on this, I've backed out of deals before, you know, if I really, really hate it. But all the companies we've worked with, that we've actually like done deals with, they go into it understanding that I'm allowed to say whatever I want to say. And sometimes, you know, there's critical feedback. There was one we did for Mecha Break, where in the video I said, I think they got to redo the monetization scheme. I think they need to redo how you spend money in the game, because I think it's really aggressive and it directly impacts gameplay. That was in that sponsored video. They were like, understood, heard, and guess what? They went and they overhauled it too, you know? So yeah, long story short, not all of them are sponsored. No, I think actually the majority are not sponsored. It's our kind of vehicle to allow for companies or studios that want to showcase their game to the audience to have kind of a direct way to do that. It works well for us, and it allows me to offer things like health insurance, retirement accounts, and stuff for all my editors. Most people in my position, their editors and their team are independent contractors, so they pay them like $2,000 a month or whatever, and that's it. That's the extent of it. But because we're able to do a lot of these types of deals, I'm able to offer them actual like employment benefits and things. So, and I appreciate that the audience is supportive of all of that, because it helps us be able to provide a much better overall product, I think. Because I'm a believer that happy work is better work. So if we can do a sponsored video on games that, you know, get exposed to the audience and that the audience is interested in, and then that also allows us to do things like healthcare coverage, that's a W. That's a W. Luke is a commie confirmed. Yeah, Luke offers healthcare. What a commie. What a commie. But anyway. Yeah, no, I think it's absolutely fair to wonder and to ask, so I have no problem talking about that stuff. But yeah, thankfully it has allowed us to do kind of crazy, bigger, wilder things. And there's times where maybe, you know, we could tweak, like, oh, maybe this game we could have done this differently. I will say there is one game, I don't think I'm allowed to say what it is, but there is one game that has approached us like 10 times for like a year to do a video, and I've turned it down over and over and over again. And just that, like, they've probably, over the course of all of their offers combined, they've probably offered close to like, just them, close to like 100,000. Like, no joke. It's insane. But it's just one of those games that I'm like, nope, I'm good. I'm good. I don't high guard. Can you imagine? Can you just imagine, dude? That would go so hard. That would be so funny. No raid against common perception. People think Raid Shadow Legends pays well. They did like 10 years ago when they first popped up. Now they are like one of the lowest. Raid is like one of the poorest paying of any that I've seen. It's like bad. Yeah, War Thunder sends me multiple emails a day. Well, what happens is that some of these companies, what they'll do is they'll go and they'll offer like a package. So a company will go and be like, I don't know what their numbers are, but let's just say we have a budget of 10 million for this marketing campaign. Okay. And what they'll do is they'll sell chunks of this budget to agencies. So this agency will get 50K. This agency will get 200K. You know, this agency will get 100. And then their job is to achieve, excuse me, their job is to achieve X number of views with this budget, and anything left over is profit that the agency keeps. So if they can achieve X number of views for 70K, they make 30K in profit, right? So what will happen is that all of these agencies are getting, slivers of this package from one brand, brand. Okay. And so you will get like all of these emails within a day from tons of different agencies, and they're all offering different amounts, but it's for the same deal, right? And so these guys, because they only have a little bit, they're going to offer you like $200 to make a video. And you're like, no. Brains, yeah, basically. These guys, maybe they offer you like $500. These guys offer you maybe 300. And there's no consistency to it because it's just per agency, right? It's really annoying. The only way to do deals like these is to go straight to the brand and just talk to them and cut out these guys, because this is stupid. But when you see like the TikToker that's, this game is crazy and I've never seen this before, they're probably doing one of these deals and they're not making anywhere near as much as you think they are. Nowhere near. Like if you work directly with a brand, I talked to a TikToker who told me he got paid, I am not joking, he told me he got paid 50 grand for one 45-second video. And he was like, all I had to say was that it was my favorite game ever. It's like, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. He was also the guy that told me, I casually mentioned at dinner, that he was committing tax fraud like multiple times. I was like, you can't say this stuff. You're like at dinner being like, yeah, I bought a bunch of luxury cars, just wrote them off. It's like, that's not how that works, dude. That is not how that works. You can't just do that. That's not okay. No, I hadn't heard of him before. I think he's just one of those guys that's learned how to play the game. Like, he knows what he's doing. But yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy. So a TikToky with a meaningless opinion. Unfortunately, because of the format being short form, it's really easy for people to do stuff like that, where you just put something out and people will like cringe, or they'll scroll and roll their eyes because they know it's not actually your favorite game ever, but they'll just scroll past and then they've forgotten about it 10 minutes later, right? On YouTube, if you try to do that on YouTube with like a 20-minute video, nobody's forgetting about that. It's just, that's not how it works. Oh, would I sponsor GTA 6? Would I sponsor them? Yes. Yeah, money me now, please. Money now. Iris will find out eventually. They usually do. Yeah, it's just I think I was talking to a friend of mine who primarily does like short form stuff. And I was just saying, like, the stuff you can get away with on short form is just very different from the stuff you can get away with on Twitch, and very different from the stuff you can get away with on Kick or YouTube. It's all very, very different. And so some of these guys will go from like TikTok and they'll try to move over to YouTube, and the things they like, the type of content they're used to making just does not work on the new platform. And it's been a growing pain of ours too, is that it's like, you know, it's kind of tricky to figure out how to balance it and how to adjust with it. But yeah, anyway. Headline: Rockstar declares bankruptcy because of Luke Stevens. He didn't sponsor them enough. Kurt, thank you for the membership. Sad Boy Come, thank you for the 2. You keep up with Fish Tank Live at all? Not really. I'll occasionally see like one of the viral clips of it. I think the last clip I saw was Airsoft Fatty when they hired the escort, but I think that's the extent of it. I haven't seen any of the new stuff. I didn't know there was new stuff, to be honest. So if you're saying that they like actually got a new season put together, that's cool. I didn't know that. 53 Nights, thank you for the 12 months. Thanks for everything. Thank you, my friend. Oh yeah, Corey's Game. Thoughts on Shift Up and Shinji Mikami acquisition? I think a Shift Up, they know what they're doing. So if they can continue to expand, then I think we could be in for a treat. Do I have any info to share on New Game Plus? Not yet, my friend. There's a lot of stuff in the background, like just stuff that you gotta do. But we are still working and chugging along. It just is what it is, you know? It is what it is. Luke, have you seen the last Kroby Cat video? You're in it, by the way. I'm in it for like 4 frames, I think. It's like very, very short. Where was it? Was it in the lobby? Where is it? In the Discord, somebody was posting it. Is it in memes? Where did it go? I don't know where we put it, actually. But yes, I was in it very, very briefly. I have not watched the whole thing, but I did see the screen caps people grabbed, and somebody sent me like the sliver of it. But yeah, it's funny that he went back and did another Resident Evil video. That's pretty funny because apparently he hates Resident Evil 4, from what I'm being told. Oh, this is funny. I didn't see this. Drawn Out posted this on our subreddit or on our Discord. He said, I found a comment on Starfield subreddit about Luke and I. Apparently, us two are the primary source of Bethesda's toxicity. If Luke Stevenson Drawn Out or whatever, or whatever, you know the names. You spelled it right. I respect that. Or whatever. Acting like I don't even know their names. Stop making Bethesda games videos, period. Discourse would be much less toxic overall. The prime examples of rage profiting on YouTube. IMO. You heard it here, guys. We're apparently the primary source. The primary source of toxicity. Wow. Who knew? Who knew? I feel like if anybody watches my videos or Drawn Out's videos, it's pretty clear. Like we're not just doing like the rage, like everything's terrible, it's awful, everything sucks. Like, I don't think we actually do that. I try pretty hard to like be mindful and thoughtful with what we say. Even the recent video I did on the Starfield update, I was like my point more broadly in the video was just that even if the Terran Armada DLC is really, really good, which it seems like most people think it's fine, but even if it was really, really good, it kicks in at like level 55, so it's not going to change the base game. And most people's experience with the base game is not going to be fundamentally changed by having like now city maps. Like the game is the game, and for a lot of people, it's just meh, you know. But what we should all be hoping for is for Bethesda to make games that are not just meh, but are fantastic, because I think they're capable of it, or at least have been in the past. But, you know, I guess maybe we're just being, we're being rageful. We're being haters. But to each their own. They're entitled to their opinion and to their mediocre game. I won't take it from them. They can have it all to themselves. I'm good. Real quick, let's see. Here's $2 for the 10+ hour Elder Scrolls 6 review, please. Dude, if I was able to do 8 hours on Starfield, I bet I could get to 10 with Elder Scrolls. God knows. Oh, Lord. Swerve and Dune, thank you for the 10. Hey, Luke, what do you think is the next big RPG game based on original IP? Which devs do you think are capable of it at this point? Bad writing seems to be the biggest thing holding back new games. I guess it's not original IP. Again, Owlcat, don't sleep on them. So like The Expanse, I think will be really good, but I don't, it's not an original IP, obviously. As for something like totally mind-blowing and surprising, I'm not sure, because obviously if it were like foreseeable, it wouldn't be a surprise, it wouldn't be shocking. But I think realistically, usually what happens is that you get a studio that starts out with something kind of clunky, then they get the second game, which is really, really good, and then the third game explodes. And I could see whatever Warhorse is working on next, I could see that exploding. Like whatever they're doing after KCD2, I don't know what it is. There were those rumors for like a day that it was a Lord of the Rings game. And they could still be working on it, but they said that specific game was not Lord of the Rings, or that specific game was not being made at Warhorse. But I think it could be massive, because I think it's reasonable to conclude that maybe KCD was like The Witcher 1, KCD 2 was The Witcher 2, and now they're working on their Witcher 3. Fingers crossed. Divinity's original IP, I interpreted that as like something, an IP that is new to everybody, because like Divinity is not new. Like it's an original IP, but you know, it's not new. I'm not sure though. Luke will get a WWE champion sponsorship soon. That I might do that just for the memes. Just for the memes. That would be really funny. Blood of Dawnwalker. I'm hopeful for Blood of Dawnwalker. My only concern with Blood of Dawnwalker is that usually first game from first time studios are a little clunky, and then the second one ends up being the masterpiece. It's very, very rare for a game to come out first game, time for the studio, and it's phenomenal. That's what Expedition 33 was, but that was so remarkable because it just doesn't happen, you know? But I wouldn't be surprised if like Blood of Dawnwalker is really, really good. Maybe in like the low to mid 80s on Metacritic, and then the second game skyrockets, you know? But we'll see. We'll see. You'll take this sponsorship, or
you chose to broke the law. Live with the consequences.
Live with the consequences. I'm having a hard time getting into Expedition 33. Oh, dude, if you get into it, you're in for a treat. Dude, just the music, I feel, adds like an entire point to the Metacritic score of that game. It's incredible. It's incredible. The windshield guy is still not here. Drive me crazy. I'm like, fam, come on. I need a windshield. Need a windshield, brother. Look at me right here, right now, brother. I need a windshield. Uncle Baby Bobby Billy needs a windshield. Okay. And then Stover, thank you for the sub over on Twitch. My friend, thank you. And I'm invisible also, thank you for the sub over on Twitch. Played Elder Scrolls since Morrowind. I'm not buying Elder Scrolls 6. Don't tell Todd. Chanster, thank you for the resub. Sorry, I'm getting to these so late, guys. Hey, Luke, I shared an image in the You Ask Luke, and it's a video game chart showing us more about types of games you like. Kind of a funny thing to do on stream if you like it. Oh, interesting. Where? Oh, this. Okay.
I'm vibing.
Wrong button. Sorry. This one. So it's like you chart out your favorite games of all time. Interesting. This could be fun. Yeah. If we like do a kind of fill it in, that could be cool. Yeah. Best art style, favorite ending, tons of hours played, guilty pleasure, stressful game, relaxing game, childhood game, not played but want to, you love but everyone hates, you hate but everyone loves. Oh yeah. This would be fun. This would be fun. I'll figure out how to get how to put it in like something that's easy for us to do on stream. That could be really fun. Obi-Wan, thank you for the sub as well. Hi Luke from Copycat. 2 questions. Did you see the Warhammer 40k April Fool's joke? And would you give it any potential opportunity to ever, or would you give up any opportunity to potentially interview Todd if it guaranteed the DSP would interview him in person? Can we ensure that the interview is like an hour long? I want it to be like really, really awkward, but it has to be in person because I want to see them in person reacting to each other. Or what would make it even better is if it was like they have to sit on the couch next to each other and then he has to play, like he got the first hour of Elder Scrolls 6 and he has to play it next to Todd live and not blame the controls and the game being broken and all that. That would be no hand holding. You know, he can't look at chat. That would be funny. I think I'd be willing to make that trade because I think the odds of me ever interviewing Todd are damn near nil. I don't think Todd's ever letting me close to him. That would be really, really funny. My understanding of original IP is that it's not based on previous work, not based on books, movies, etc. Basically one that is fully owned by the devs. Okay, yeah, I think, you know, Divinity is going to be massive as well, but I do think that as for like new IP that nobody's heard of, my guess is that Warhorse is working on something totally fresh, and I have my fingers crossed that that's what they're doing. Okay. And then Dalrek, thank you for the sub over on Twitch as well. And Friendly DPS TV, thank you also for the sub over there. Thank you, my friend. The Expanse looks very intriguing. I think so too, my friend. I think so too. Quick little bitty tidbit on Naughty Dog stuff. So after we talked about it last week, it seems like more and more people are coming on board with the idea that this may actually be what's happening. If you missed it, basically there are rumors going around that they're one of the guys over at Naughty Dog, Sean Eskag, he is the game director on something unannounced. We know they're working on something else that's big. And some people are saying that it is a new Uncharted game, potentially with the like protagonist reworked a little bit. So instead of it being Nathan Drake, it will be focused on Cassie, but it will, some people are saying it will feature dual protagonists, which could be an interesting way to hand off the torch as opposed to just having it fully be Cassie. That could be interesting. They say that they're potentially targeting a 2029 release date. I tried to look up where these started from. A lot of them are circling back to a post from MBG, and then it's replied to by this guy, and then this is being used as the source. And I think he's a leaker, it seems. So I'm not familiar with him. I don't know if he's got like a good track record or whatever, but apparently that's what this is. As you can see, yeah, the 2029 date isn't coming from me. He says, I want to clarify a few things here. I never said there would be dual protagonists. I've said anything like this, it was assumption. So I don't know, man, but they're saying that is potentially happening. I don't know where the leaks are coming from. I don't know if they're reliable, but I think that at the very least, that type of thing makes sense. As for other things, it looks like Naughty Dog potentially, people who have worked there are not surprised that they are going back to crunch. there was once more an interview on Kiwi Talks. Again, I tell you guys to follow Kiwi Talks all the time. But another interview with Benson Russell, former senior game designer at Naughty Dog. And he said specifically some interesting stuff about the crunch culture. They'll set internal deadlines and treat them like actual external deadlines. It's at that point you realize you've wandered too much, he continues. And it could be Sony tapping them on the shoulder, being like, hey guys, it's been 3 years, not seeing much from you. We've spent, I don't know how much money already. What's going on? And this is one of those clips.
After The Last of Us 1, when we had the meeting, because every meeting after that was always like, hey, what are we going to do to try and mitigate crunch? How are we going to make this better? And eventually it was just an admission in the meeting. It was said, it was like, well, we just come to realize this is what it takes to make games at our level. And we understand if you don't want to do that, that's fine. We understand. We'll write you a great letter of recommendation. That was the answer. So, and it's like, and again, the company runs the way it wants to run. You either want to be a part of it or you don't. They're not technically breaking any laws, and they're not, it's not like a requirement. It is a, hey, we really could use your help. Please come here. And you're incentivized to do it because your bonuses will be bigger. Your contribution to the project affects, the amount of bonus that you're going to get. So, people, so they respect it. There are some people that had to leave strict schedules because of family. As we got older, they got families, kids, whatever.
And what's interesting is that if you're not familiar, basically after The Last of Us Part 2, Naughty Dog said they stripped away crunch culture. They stopped hosting like dinners for staff. They stopped doing a lot of those things because they realized it was creating a culture where people were incentivized to work extra late. People were staying at the office till 7, 8, 9 p.m. Some people were sleeping at the studio and working, all hours of the night. And they didn't want that anymore. So they broke it. They shed it. And they were very, very proud of that fact in the documentary they did on the creation and development of The Last of Us Part 2. However, at the end of last year, a story broke, I believe from Bloomberg, where Jason Schreier pointed out that they're actually back to doing it. They're back to crunching, and they were crunching to try and finish in a demo for an internal review that was due at the end of December. And so they went back to crunch. And then this interview happens, and he's describing how basically the company culture is becoming effectively like, this is just what it is. Naughty Dog crunches. And if that's something you're cool with, awesome, glad to have you. If you don't like that, we wish you luck somewhere else, but that's just how we do things. And it's interesting because I think what we've seen from Naughty Dog, obviously, is that at the very least, they were more efficient when they were able to get twice the labor out of people for the same pay. When they were able to get people staying at the office till 10 p.m., it seems like they were able to get games out faster. But what's interesting is that even when they removed that, you may think like it'll just take longer to get the same results now. But what seems to be the case is that actually they think it's just core to like the company culture. It's how they work, which is fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. It's been 6 years from the last game. Yeah. No, I think he's probably right that Sony is like, what are we doing? Sony's like, guys, it's been 6 years. We've gotten some remasters, sure, some remakes, sure, but like, can we get it together? Can we get it together? Like, please? What are we doing? What are we doing? So I wouldn't be surprised if over the next like few months and year, we hear more stories of like Naughty Dog bringing crunch culture back, and it's just how it's done now. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised. And I mean, honestly, if it's transparent, I can't really blame them. Like when I worked in real estate, it was well known that if you wanted to be successful at the company, you needed to like work crazy late hours. You were expected to come and work on the weekends. It was also like when I worked there, the owner of the company, genuinely a very nice guy, but if you wanted to be on his good side, he did a walk around the office at 7 p.m. between 7 and 7:30 p.m. every night. And if you were not at your desk, he wouldn't get mad at you, but he would know you weren't one of the go-getters. You weren't exceptional. The guys that were still at their desk at 7:30, he saw that as like, wow, they're working extra hard. And maybe next time there's some opportunity, he's going to give you a call. So you're not forced to stay there. But if you know what's good for you, you will. You know, and so it just created this culture of like, you know what's expected of you, more. And if you're okay with that and you're willing to eat, sleep, live, and breathe this for the next 5 years, you can get pretty far and you'll do very, very well for yourself. But you got to be willing to make that sacrifice. And as long as it's like communicated, that's how they handled it. They were like, if you don't like that, you don't have to work here. Like, and it's also, they won't fire you for not being at your desk because stuff happens. But if they notice after a year that you've never been at your desk when he does the walk around, do you really think he's going to let you keep your desk when he could give it to this other guy fresh out of college who is going to be there till 9 p.m.? He'll probably give it to the other guy, you know? So I think it's just a reality of the American working world, it seems. And my suspicion is that, especially as Eastern devs become more and more influential in the gaming space, like, do you really think that crunch culture is a concern in China? We've seen how quickly Crimson Desert's dev, Pearl Abyss, has been pumping out games updates for the game. Do you really think Pearl Abyss is not crunching? I think they probably are. And my fear is that, like, when these companies start to get really spooked, that they're going to be like, okay, well, to compete, we have to do it. So to compete, you have to be willing to put 80 hours in. But we're not paying you more. No. You're going to make the same money, but twice the work. I wouldn't be surprised if some of these studios, especially in the States, start to kind of have that attitude where it's like, hey, if you want to compete, that's just how it has to be. You know, what are you going to do? Wouldn't be surprised at all. They'll just have infinite patches, Abyss gear. Oh, that works. That's the pressure Eastern studios are putting on the American industry. Yeah, well, it's, again, like, none of this happens in a vacuum. Pearl Abyss coming out, pumping out this stuff. There's going to be other studios capable of putting out really, really impressive stuff way cheaper and faster. And they're like, to keep up, Western devs are going to have to find some way to either cut corners or work more efficiently and work cheaper. And that's why all these studios are digging into like AI tools and seeing if that could work. And they're just trying to find a way to change the math to make it work. Because as of right now, why would you spend $300 million making KCD2 in California when you could spend $50 million making it in the Czech Republic? Because that's what they did. They made it in the Czech Republic for like 50, 60 million. All of a sudden, that's the difference between making a lot of profit and maybe barely breaking even, you know? And you as a consumer may not care as long as the product is good. But the executive cares. The guy in the suit and the skyscraper cares. And he has no problem firing everybody in the US if it's cheaper to do it in Eastern Europe, you know? Or in Korea or wherever, you know? Real serious. Thank you for that. Crunch culture is definitely not a thing in Asia. I don't even think Hershey's bars are common here. They have their own Dude, am I just their own candies? Dude, I read that as candles. They have their own candles. It's like, what? I guess, is that, what's the opposite? What's the Freudian slip, but when it's your eyes? When you start to read things that aren't there because it's on your mind, I guess. I'm not really sure what Hershey's bars have to do with Asian game development, but as for the work culture and things in some of these places, even if we say, like, for sake of hypotheticals, even if we say that they're not crunching. As I brought up, the pay standards are just different. I've brought this up many times because it's just such a clear example of it. But From Software, after the success of Elden Ring, they announced they were raising employee pay in April of 2025. That brought the starting pay for employees there all the way up to $2,050 US a month. It doesn't take like a mathematician to figure out that if you're able to get college grads that are talented, that know what they're doing, to come and work for you for $2,000 a month, in the US, the starting pay at like a Redwood office in Redwood, California, because the expense and the cost of living is so high, the starting salaries are like 60, 70, 80,000 a year. Like a lot more. That's good, Jean-Claude. That's not the six figures I meant. I meant in USD. Yeah, you got to be clear. You have to be precise. 6 figures in yen is not going to do too well. Did I miss the joke? I might have missed the joke. I'm sorry. But I think this is also why, like, we just looked at it the other day, the GTA 6 budget video that was really interesting. Like Rockstar, they have a lot of animation work to do. Do they hire 1,600 people in California to do it? No. Are you kidding me? No, that's expensive. They founded a studio and they went over and hired 1,600 people in India, where the pay is comparatively minuscule. Again, I encourage you to watch that segment that we did because it's mind-blowing to find in their books how much money is actually being spent on those Indian salaries. It's shocking. It like is actually unbelievable. But that's just where it's going to go. It's going to go just like, manufacturing hardware, phones, cars, whatever, how that went global. And you just had, this part from Indonesia, this part from Mexico, this part from China, this part from Japan. And then they bring them all to one place where it's cheapest to assemble it all. It's going to be the same thing with gaming. That's basically what Rockstar is doing. Yeah, they have like 7,000 people working on GTA 6, but they're so spread out very strategically that, it's just wild. It's just absolutely crazy. Oh, it was a joke about crunch bars. Oh, real serious. I'm sorry. Crunch culture. Okay. I'm okay. That's what it was. It was a crunch bar joke. I see. He's 6'7". Oh no, he said it. That's funny. That's funny. You're gonna cause Kino. Kino's gonna crash out, dude. Oh, that's funny. Real serious. Thank you for that one as well. I know Naughty Dog is in a league of their own, but how do smaller or similar AAA companies deal with this? Rockstar, Rocksteady, From Software, Bethesda, Sucker Punch. I think, of course, every company is different, but I think that once there's this company attitude of, we'll just crunch if we aren't ready. Like if we're not close enough, if it's not good enough, we'll just crunch. And I think that that's just the company attitude. And clearly it leads to Naughty Dog games that look and run amazingly well and that are really, really impressive. It delivers great products at the end of the day, but, at the cost of the people that are doing it, suffering in the process. So I think the windshield guy called but didn't leave a message. I'm guessing he's going to call and be like, actually, we need you to come into the shop. I can't do it in your driveway, even though I said I could. I'm going to crash out. Anyway, I think every studio is a little bit different. The standards and expectations are different. It's also, there's the role of producers that's pretty crucial. Like producers in game development, their job is largely to orchestrate development and like scheduling juggling all of the tasks for everybody to make sure they all get done at the right times and at the right pace. So that's something that Naughty Dog has also historically not had or struggled to implement. So that could also be a part of it. Overall, I think it's a structural thing, but that's just how they do it. Call me asparagus. Yeah, exactly. Call me asparagus. Was that? Yeah, you gotta love him. Teaser dropped for the next Metro game saying there's going to be an announcement on the 16th. I'm curious, what are your thoughts on the Metro series? Metro. Yes. Let me pull up the teaser. The teaser thing they dropped. It was like this. So they have this 2039. Next chapter of Metro, April 16th. Lots happening that day. Interesting. It's rumored that, well, now it's not even rumored, but this is happening that day. It's rumored there's a state of play, and it's rumored that Black Flag remake is going to be revealed there. Lots happening on the 16th, it seems. But anyway, what are my thoughts on it? Metro Exodus, I played, I thought it was like really good. I'm not like super familiar with the franchise, honestly, just being totally clear. Like I've not played them from the beginning, but I thought they were really, really impressive. At least Metro that I played. So I'm excited for it. I want to see what they've been working on. I'm really excited. It's going to be interesting. Also, Xbox Showcase this week, maybe also the 16th. Dude, if there's also an Xbox Showcase on the 16th, like that's insane. If there are two showcases the same day, I'm going to lose it. That's crazy. That's going to be absolutely crazy. Let's see. I've seen Wayward Realms. He was one of the devs on Daggerfall. Looks interesting from RPG elements. Yes, Wayward Realms. This one, where is it? Yeah, it is.
Welcome to the archipelago.
They specifically are trying to build something where choice and consequence are experienced on a scale never attempted before, which I'm okay with. They're trying to create a new class of game they're calling the Grand RPG. Okay. It is set on a group of over 100 realistically scaled islands known collectively as the archipelago, where scores of factions vie for influence and power. Kingdoms strive to maintain their dominance, upstarts seek to earn a place at the top, and dynasties set generational plots into motion. Should the player earn a position of prominence, they may change the course of history. However, they must first prove their worth, battling rivals, mercenaries, monsters, spirits, and demons. On their quest for fame and fortune, players will venture through strange lands, delve into foreboding dungeons, and traverse kingdoms full of humans, elves, orcs, dwarves, and a few other unusual races. And I mean, honestly, I'm down for that. You're not playing as some pre-baked warrior or mage, but a character class of your own design with customized skills, abilities to craft your own spells, potions, and enchantments. Want to try playing a character who's really, really outside the box? We got you. So I'm intrigued, and these guys know what they're doing. So I'm keeping an eye on this one. Tell you what. So yes, I have heard of it, and I think it looks baller. I think it looks cool. Jack, thank you for the 5. Hi, mate. Hope you're good. What would be your thoughts on Warhorse's new IP if it came out as Skyrim, Witcher-esque game with magic and all that fun stuff? I would love it so long as they can retain the same sort of like sim stuff that they have. I think that would fill a void in the fantasy space that we've not really seen catered to. You know, like realistic NPC simulation and scheduling and stuff. That could be really, really cool. Really, really cool. Subi, thank you also for the membership, my friend. Thank you. Luke, what do you think is happening first? Elder Scrolls 6 or we land on the moon again for the first time in over 50 years with Artemis 4 in 2028? I've said my expectation is that Elder Scrolls 6 comes in late 2028. That's my guess. Personally, as for what I think happens first. I mean, Artemis has been delayed numerous times, but they seem to have gotten it figured out at least. So I'm going to go out on a limb. I think moon landing first. I think we'll go back to the moon before that. Yeah. I will say, slight tangent. If any of you want a really good laugh, look up like the flat earthers reacting to the Artemis launch. Bro, it's hilarious. I saw one guy. One guy was claiming that the rocket ship was like an inflatable balloon. As if, oh, that explains it. You know, it is hilarious. I had kind of forgotten about the flat earth dudes. I just figured they all climbed back in their hole or they found some new like thing to spend time on. But dude, it's unreal. Some of those guys are still going and it's just freaking hilarious. At this point, it's unreal, but they are real people. Whew. This is what I get for skipping my caffeine today. What did I do? Why did I do this to myself? Todd, what are we doing? Todd, Smoker, also thank you for the sub, my friend. Thank you. Let's see. The Quanticoman, thank you for the 10. Very generous. How do sequels cost more, even though majority of mechanics and settings were made in the first game, like Spider-Man 2 or God of War Ragnarok? I think this. Where's Corey when we need him? For one, I mean, Ragnarok is way bigger than the first game was. It kind of, it's one of those games kind of like Tears of the Kingdom where it makes the first game look like the tutorial level for the second game, you know? It's just all the dials are cranked up. So, you know, Ragnarok is a significantly bigger game. As for Spider-Man 2, that's the one that's more confusing to me. And I think the best example of like dev or costs skyrocketing in baffling ways, because like with Spider-Man 2, a lot of the map is recycled, but also like specifically, it's not like they made Miles Morales just for that game. Like they had him working from the spin-off game that they did. And yes, they tweaked it. They added some new abilities here and there, but the game is also not, like, as far as I can tell, not markedly bigger in terms of content. In terms of map size, sure. But in terms of content, it's not, as far as I recall, markedly bigger than the first game. I think it has more like cutscenes, it has more cinematics and stuff than the first game. But they're not like particularly awesome things. Like I could have gone without the bike riding segment. You know, I would have been fine. I would have been okay. You could have cut that really annoying podcaster who's always rambling on the in-game intercom. Like we could have cut that and it would have been fine. I just think that it's a case of maybe spending dev costs and time on stuff that wasn't important to players or that players didn't really appreciate. I don't know though. Spider-Man 2 is the one that's really baffling because I felt like the game was just kind of like, in a lot of ways, I thought the game was like narratively a massive step backwards. And people have asked me about Wolverine. I've gone back. I think that the craziest thing that happened with Spider-Man 2 was that they lucked out and managed to dodge all of the discourse around terrible writing. They missed the window by like 6 months. If that game had come out 6 months later, it would have been, I think, the prime example of cringy writing in modern AAA games. But they avoided all of the like absolute blowback that could have happened somehow. And I don't understand it. But if you've not played through that game, it's unbelievable. The writing is like worse than you remember. I don't know if anybody's done any clips. We watched one video on it. We talked about it. I think this was it. But like there's all the examples of like just the writing being really, really cringy and stupid. And all of these times where they specifically like neuter Peter to make other characters stronger or come off as better. Where's the refrigerator part? That's like a famous comparison. I don't know. Is this it?
bugs, to people saying ridiculous things like the senior creative director of this game, Brian Inahar, stating in an interview that he doesn't care if Mary Jane is an overpowered character in this game, which slightly pissed me off, and I'm sure it did for other people too.
Let's talk about the MJ missions a little bit.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Because you made her like the most OP
They are like objectively the worst parts of the game.
character in the game. Just get it out there.
She's OP.
One shot everybody.
She's OP. If she's a little OP, I don't give a shit. She's fine.
I think in 2024, that clip, can you imagine how viral that would go? Somehow they managed not to have that go viral. I don't know how, but I seriously think somehow that game dodged a lot of the blowback it probably deserved. So if they did not learn from some of the feedback that came in, and the game, you know, it sold well as far as I can tell. I think it did well. But if they did not listen to some of the critical feedback and adjust on it, I'm worried that like half of Wolverine is going to be walking sections with a secondary character. And it's going to be like, I thought this was Wolverine, not Samantha. I don't remember what her name is. There's another character you're going to be. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with it. But yeah, the one thing I'm concerned about with Wolverine is just the writing, because those writers are still there. They're still there. Real quick, guys, it's back. New mini segment thing. It's back, guys. It's back. We actually did a video on this a while back. I had kind of forgotten about it. I'm gonna be real, but let me see if I can find the clip we did on it. Here. No, I'm not. Oh, where did it go? Where did it go? What do we call it? Oh, Rock School. It's like Rock School. Hold on. If I just call it cringe. I don't. Damn it. Okay, I can't find the clip we did on it. But we'll continue. We'll continue. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Okay. New mini segment thing. It's back, guys. It's back. It's returned to us. Never forgotten. Though it probably should have been. If you were not here like a year ago when we first looked at this, there's a game coming that is expected to be thoroughly entertaining. Why will be up for personal consideration. But this game is one people have compared to Bully. People have compared it to Gollum as well. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. But it started to go viral apparently through Japanese Twitter again for some reason. You can see 30,000 likes, 3 million views on this repost of the trailer that they just dropped, a gameplay overview trailer. We looked at this a while back. You can see a day ago it was posted. It's already at 300,000 views for IGN. Maybe they improved it, because last time we saw this, it looked horrifying. Let's see how they've improved it or tweaked it.
Agefield High, Rock the School.
Agefield.
A coming-of-age adventure game about friendship, love, and maybe a little rebellion, inspired by the raunchy teen comedies of the early 2000s. You play as Sam, who just moved to Agefield with his nagging mom and annoying sister.
Good college, great job, happy family. I don't want a fucking job. I want a man with money.
At Agefield High, join forces with Kale
Finally, someone says it.
and Axel, and together try to pull off their Rock the School plan to become the biggest legends the school's ever seen.
And most importantly, get the girl and rock the prom.
But on weekdays, you have to be in school till the afternoon. Yeah, Agefield High features a complex time and school system, with different lesson types like English, math, geography, German, and music.
I'm just not used to country life yet.
Do you think we're some kind of dumb hillbillies or rednecks?
Students arrive by bus in the morning and follow their daily routine. You can skip class, but then you'll have to hide from the authorities in town, or just cause chaos.
Hey, he's stealing my liquor!
The story missions become available after school where Kale, Axel, and Sam work on their dream to leave their marks as legends. From awkward attempts at impressing girls,
I can show you that I am a real man.
fighting dickhead jocks,
Not in my town.
and even Satanists, leading to the big question.
Oh no.
I am the hottest girl at school.
Which girl do you ask to prom? Agefield High features 32 main missions and 15 mini missions capturing the ridiculousness of early 2000s teen comedies.
Are you having your happy time?
The open world of Agefield is free to explore, featuring the school campus, neighborhoods, town center, and countryside. After Sam's parents split and his mom struggles to make ends meet, with no car of his own, he has to navigate Agefield solo. So you might want to check out Mike's bike shop and get some wheels. Don't forget some new fresh clothes and maybe even a tattoo. Just don't tell mom.
Did you get into a fight?
Complete some mini missions to make bank on the side.
We have to buy a Play With magazine so I can sell the pictures in it to my friends 10 times the original price.
Don't let your guard down around town or even the countryside. The jocks could be anywhere. Sam isn't a bully, but he knows how to crack a few skulls. He can throw some punches, deal some leg kicks, and shove them to break their defense. Don't forget to block.
And the graffiti just appeared there by itself, or what?
And keep an eye out for collectibles. Agefield is soaked in a pop-punk soundtrack, vibrant colors, and a springtime setting, hiding the negativity of all the soulless adults in town.
I can't be the father. Hey.
Return to the early 2000s and experience the rebellious energy of Agefield High. Rock the school. Wishlist now on Steam.
Just gonna wish list that real quick. Dude, it's like approaching so hilariously bad that maybe it ends up being like really, really funny and like actually kind of a vibe. I also would not be surprised if this trailer like description is AI generated as well, because a lot of the phrasing is really, really weird. Don't forget to block, and the graffiti just appeared by itself. Keep an eye out for collectibles. Agefield is soaked in a pop-punk soundtrack, vibrant colors, and a springtime setting. What? Okay. I'm thoroughly curious. I'm just so curious.
Welcome to Agefield.
It's coming or Q3, okay. Relive your high school days in the town of Agefield. It's the early 2000s. Graduation is on the horizons. Rebel with your friends to win over your dream girl and rock the school. Okay. Yeah, GameSpot, American Pie, and other early 2000 teens comedies inspire the upcoming game. Agefield High Rock the School storyteller brings back the raunchy chaos of early 2000s teen movies. Agefield High Rock the School wears its bully inspirations very clearly on the Letterman jacket in this early 2000 period. What is this link, though? Oh, it's just their description of the trailer. I'm curious. I'm so curious. Agefield is such a bad name. Dude, it's college. The last trailer we looked at, yeah, this is from like November. This is a different trailer.
It's the year 2002, and 3 friends decided not to leave school as losers.
Good morning, everybody. This young man right here is our new student, Sam.
Yeah, that's the guy that looks like Gary Ridgway.
The guy who thinks college is for chumps.
Ah, you're the new guy, huh? What's up?
Axel Philly, the wannabe rock star.
I got an F in English.
And you, Sam Tatum, the new kid.
So we can have the party, but my mom cannot find out. If she does, she'll go ballistic.
They made a plan to rock.
Dude, it's that like the eyes never focus on anything, and it's just, my mom cannot find out. She'll go ballistic. Drives me crazy.
Fuck thinking about college, dude. We need to stick to our plan to rock the school.
Yeah.
But there's always something.
Dude,
Someone getting in there.
I love the idea that like adults sat around a table and were like, yeah, F thinking about college. We need to rock the school. Yeah. What does that even mean? Like, what the hell is that? Is that what I think of it is?
Perverted teachers.
You messed with the wrong one.
Nosy.
You like have to hunt down teachers who are creeping on the teenage girls. Like, honest question, can you even do that? Like, can you put that in a game and not end up like rated AO? That like, that's wild.
Neighbors.
There are aliens in the forest, in the countryside.
Not to mention Seth, the most popular guy at school whose life mission is to make yours miserable at best.
So you think you can move to my town? Come to my school?
Again, this blew my mind last time. Let me move my camera. Do you see what he hung on the tree? So what, is he just gonna kill the new kid? Is he just gonna, like, what is happening? What is happening right now? Like, this game is insane. Like, it's so insane. It boggles the mind. It's crazy.
My town, come to my school, embarrass me in front of my friends and ruin my party.
Sid, you have to go now. My dad's gonna kill you. I'm serious.
But that doesn't hold these guys back from trying.
Whose panties are those?
Play as Sam Tatum, who saves the day in this rule-breaking coming-of-age adventure. Explore a fully decked-out campus in quirky small town in this open world inspired by the early 2000s teen movies.
Do you really think you're the first students to try to get into my pants this way?
Her dad brought lipstick home from his trip to Mexico, and now they all look prettier than ever.
Dude, I forgot some of this stuff. I was like, oh, it's quirky. You notice a lot of this stuff is not in the new trailer. I think they heard the feedback. Hey, maybe cut the pedophile from your game. Maybe let's remove the lynching. Can we just not?
We drink as much as we could, go streaking to the girl we liked, and then tell her how much we loved her.
Return to the early 2000s one last time. Agefield High. Rock the school. Wishlist now.
Anyway. there you go. This game is gonna be entertaining. I don't think it'll be for the reasons they are intending, but yeah, it blew me away because I saw this pop up on my feed doing the auto translate from Japanese, and I was like, oh, so this is making the rounds on like Japanese fan websites, and then like 30,000 likes. Like, what is happening? What is happening? What is life? There was this game about American high school life that the GTA staff developed where everyone was Slytherin, a total hellscape. Unlike GTA, it was insidious and utterly vile. Bully. The idea that everyone is Slytherin in Bully is genuinely kind of funny. Yeah, this person, they have an original Japanese copy of Bully, which I've never seen. This is actually legitimately kind of a cool thing for Japan only. you know, who knew? But yeah, and then there's a lot of I guess we have certain memes and things we're known for in Japan that people just associate with our schools. I won't read them, but yeah, so there's those. I guess people expect that in the game too. This is going to be a bizarre thing. It's going to be a bizarre thing no matter what. So there you go. But yeah, if you're wondering whatever happened to Agefield High Rock the School, there you go. It's still alive, still in our hearts, never to die. Even if you want it to, it's not. No, never. So there you go. Okay. Let's see. What, my browser crashed. Hold on. Let me refresh it real quick. It's taking its sweet time. There we go. It's loaded again. Hell yeah. It does look pretty great. I'm gonna be real. Why do all these Unreal games have not safe for work prawn game models? I think it's all those like metahuman models, and they just pump them out, which is why they all kind of low-key look like siblings. It just is what it is. I remember talking to one of the devs working on that Titanic Honor and Glory project to recreate the Titanic in Unreal Engine. And I asked him, like, is the goal to eventually have like NPCs and to have like characters that are each assigned like actual identities from the ship and to like really populate it out? He said, yes, we'd like to be able to do that for historical purposes to give you a sense of how many people were there. Difficulty is metahuman just makes everybody look like siblings. I was like, yeah, actually, it kind of does. I never thought about that, but yeah, it totally does. He's like, yeah, we've experimented with it, just not the best tool for what we need. He said it also makes everybody look a bit older, and in that game Agefield High or whatever, all of the kids and teenagers look kind of like they're 28 years old, which is a little funny. Let's see. Hey Luke, can you play the trailer of Agefield High? Reminds me of Bully. Oh, you're in for a treat, my friend. Way ahead of you. Chris, thank you for that super chat. The studio behind American Truck Simulator is doing amazing work trying to bring their game to consoles. Biggest fall of BGS is their silence. Well, yeah, if they were just more transparent, I think it would help a lot. Buttery Cheeks, thank you for the 5 as well. Hey Luke, Naughty Dog canceled The Last of Us Online to avoid becoming a live service studio. Shouldn't Guerrilla be concerned about this too with Horizon Hunters? You would think. I am also wondering that too, because Naughty Dog said that they canceled it, and the reason they gave publicly was because they wanted to still be able to make single player stuff. Guerrilla is doing the live service thing, but apparently they're not concerned about it. I mean, the studio head, he said in the intro of it that we still want to make single player games. That's what is core to us, but we wanted to experiment with this and do that. But yeah, it's a valid question, because supporting a live service game is not an easy task. It really is not. I think it's more an indication that they don't really expect it to become massive. I think they were worried that, in an ironic way, I think they were worried The Last of Us Online would become massive and they would have to totally divert all resources. I think they're looking at Guerrilla's project and being like, it's a little chance. Probably not. You know? Let's see. Where did I leave off? I hated that voiceover so much. Well, it's over now. You're safe. No one can hurt you now. The voiceover with the vivid colors to rock the school. Thank you for the 5 Spies Cozy Games. Always listen to your videos while I'm working. I'm a postman. Oh, I've always thought that would be like kind of a relaxing, chill job. I guess it depends on where you're a postman, because like, you know, maybe in cities it'd be stressful, but I always thought like It would be kind of chill. My hopes for Elder Scrolls 6 is great. With every BSG or BGS update, I think they need to be better. Love the show. Thank you, my friend. And yeah, I just think again, I think a lot of us just have the same goal. We want Bethesda to get back to making fantastic games consistently that we all know and love. But I think the problem is just that we disagree on the best way to like encourage them to do that. So for me, I think the best way to encourage them to do that is by holding their feet to the fire and holding them to a higher standard and blah, blah, blah. That's my feeling. Clearly some other people feel differently. They feel like you need to be more positive, more upbeat, more optimistic, more complimentative and all that. And that is their opinion. I personally disagree, but that they have the right to have that opinion, and that's fine. That's fine. I just personally disagree. I think that just encourages them to keep doing the same thing they've always done. You know? So, we'll, agree to disagree, I guess. Let's see. And then Justin, thank you for the 5. I personally believe that part of Spider-Man 2's budget was the canceled multiplayer, the Great Web. It very well could have been. So that could have been it. That they just had that under like the team, and then the team's expenses just rolled all of it together. So that could be it. If people are not familiar, there was a multiplayer version of the game in development for a couple of years, actually, that leaked and didn't end up going anywhere, but one of the theories is that could also be part of where the money went. It's possible, but even that, like, I don't think they had 300 people working on that. So I think even that, if you say that's 10 million, 20 million, 30 million or something, that probably does not also magically fix it. But they probably were in a similar spot where they just realized in order to keep that working, they would have to go all in on it. And that is expensive and time consuming. I'm still going money laundering. I think the most reasonable explanation is just that they hired a lot of people. The people they hired are expensive. They had them work for years and years and years. And by all accounts, Insomniac is a great place to work. I don't think they have a crunch issue. I don't think they have any issues with like, you come to work, you work your 9 to 5. They do a lot of cool parties at the office. They go and do company events. I think it's a very nice place to work. But that makes it an expensive place to operate. And the final product, a lot of people just found, not as exciting as they were hoping. Luke, help, the fridge is too heavy. I know I'm literally Spider-Man, and I've literally lifted buildings. But the fridge. Like that's my frustration. And that video we watched did a really good job of describing it. Where he's like, it's frustrating because there's no thought of like, what would be a better way to frame this? But it's just, instead of finding ways for certain characters to be exceptional, they just have to constantly write in ways for Peter to be worse, to elevate the other characters by comparison. And it's just a bad way to do it, This is bad because it does lead to the situation where you like literally end up with Peter Parker getting slammed with a fridge, and that's devastating to him. It's just stupid. Let's see. Let's see. If we continue to encourage Bethesda with constructive criticism, they're going to include Fallout born abilities in Fallout 5. No, they're not Fallout born abilities. They're Institute abilities. The Institute gave you this Doru Sfa ability that allows you to force push with like a seismic blast. It's actually, it makes sense if you think about it. It actually makes a lot of sense. You just have to think about it. And you're not thinking about it, which is why it sounds really stupid to you. But you've got to think about it. Once you think about it, you'll agree with me. And if you still disagree with me, that's a you problem. Because it makes sense.
Time to bring out the cappuccino.
Time to bring out the cappuccino.
Oh, this cappuccino. It looked just like a cappuccino. I call it cappuccino. Budget approved. Time to bring out my putter.
Like honest question. This is it's gonna change how I look at all these videos. Like, is he good? Like, is he all there, or is there like something? You know what I'm asking? You know what I'm saying? Because like it's funny, but I like I just don't want to be insensitive, you know? I don't want to be insensitive.
Let's go.
Let's golf.
This one's called Let's Go Golfing. Hey yo, Drake. Hey yo, Drake. Did the Drake folks come in yet? Chill. It's a cold
Even Dre's like, bro, stop.
world. So is the ice. So is the ice. So is the ice. Cold as ice. Don't be a fool. Get a pool. I call her a chandelier. I call her his and hers.
Okay. Mirla, thank you for the 10. When you did property stuff, did you ever sell one of those rich people a whole house air purification system? Because I'm tired of dusting. If so, how expensive were they? No, I did multifamily, which is like apartment buildings. So we sold, you know, everything basically from like 4 units all the way up to, we had properties listed that were like, you know, 115, 120, something like that. So we did a whole wide gamut of stuff, but we were not in the business, like the luxury apartments that cost, like the whole building costs 50 to 150 million. Those are not selling through boutique brokerages. Those are selling through like CBRE. Those are selling direct from institutional guys to other institutional firms. So we would never touch those. The stuff we touched were like the apartment buildings that were generally owned by like smaller individual owners. So, you know, just a different animal. But I never got to do any fun, like fancy stuff. Like the buildings we sold, both of my bosses, like we all had stories of going to buildings for tours with buyers and like finding dead people in them because they were not super nice buildings. They were still valuable. They were like $5, $6, $7 million buildings, but they were not like places you'd probably love to be. What? Yeah, no, there was one time my boss told the story of going to a place and doing a tour, and a homeless guy had broken in to the apartment, laid in the bathtub, and then done an ocean of drugs, OD'd, died in the bathtub. Nobody knew he was in there because the apartment was locked and the windows were locked and everything. He had broken in the window and climbed in. So nobody knew he was in there. Weeks and weeks pass by. My boss gets there for a tour with a buyer, and they're like, let's go in the empty unit. They go in the empty unit, find a dead guy in there. So they have to call the police and all that. He's shaken up because what he saw, he'll never be able to forget. And he wouldn't be too specific, but all my boss said was, yeah, so the coroner came, they took the body out. So the guy was out, but his back stayed in the tub. Asparagus. That's all he would say. He wouldn't go into more detail than that. They had to hire like an actual crime scene cleanup crew and all that. Yeah. So it was not all glamorous, I guess I would just say. It was not all glamorous. It was there were times where it was nasty work, but that's just how it is, man. That's how it is. You know, the property manager felt terrible, but like it wasn't her fault. He broke in and then OD'd. Like it wasn't her fault, and she had no reason to think that he was in there. And like it was one of those buildings where the window he had broken in was like it was behind bushes and it was up high, so he like broke it with a rock and like climbed in, but it was obscured by the bushes, so she had no way of knowing. But yeah, she felt horrible, and I can see why. But it was like sometimes sucky things like that just happen. When I worked as a janitor, the building we worked at was this massive building, huge property as well, and over the last like decade, there had been like 2 people who had hidden under the trees on the property and OD'd on stuff. You know, and they were found quickly, but unfortunately that type of thing happens.
Just curious if you heard about Kazal Online, Skyrim MMO.
Kazal Online. Kazal Online. Oh wait, I think I have heard of this. Yeah, it's like the full overhaul to make it MMO. Yeah, I do recall this. This is ringing a bell. This is ringing a bell. Yeah, it is a server for multiplayer Skyrim RP, 650 players max. So it's like a roleplay server too. Interesting. A synchronized persistent Tamriel. That's crazy. That's really cool. If Bethesda knew what was good for them, they'd invest heavily in that for Elder Scrolls 6. Imagine if there was like a roleplay server with co-op for Elder Scrolls 6. That I think would go hard. If they did like a GTA Online roleplay, but in Elder Scrolls 6, that would go hard. I think people would lose it for that. We'll see if they do that. I don't know. We'll see if they do that. But yeah, thank you for mentioning that. It's been a minute since I've looked into like Skyrim overhaul mods like that. But that's an interesting one. I'll keep the tab open. Thank you for the 20 also. Very, very generous. Thank you.
What's this? I call her a chandelier. Well, what's this? I call her his and hers.
Callie, what's that on your wrist?
I call her chandelier.
What's mildly upsetting is I'm sure that watch is worth more than my house and everything I own.
What's on your wrist?
I call her chandelier.
I call her chandelier.
Dude, he sent that.
Gatorade. Gatorade. They ain't believe in us. God did. God did. God did.
Okay.
See this SNL budget?
Budget approved.
I call her chandelier. Dude, he put it hard. That was a thud against that Gatorade bottle. I'd like to think he was aiming for the Gatorade. Like, if you've never played golf, the general rule is that you only ever use your putter on the green, like on the really short grass at the very, very right next to the hole. He's in the like straight up fairway. He's just chucking it.
Gatorade.
Sorry, that sound.
Gatorade.
I'm gonna say he was aiming for it. That's what I want. Gatorade. There you go. There you go. Anyway, does he do that for the camera, or is he always like that? I think he's doing it for the camera. He hams it up. But yeah, he does all sorts of stuff like this, which is just thoroughly confusing.
Call me asparagus.
I guess because he's wearing green? I guess. Call me asparagus. Where's another one? Where's another good one?
So, is it cooked already? No.
Oh, no. Oh, you about to go show. Tell him to cook the lobster.
See, he'll talk normally, and then he turns to the camera and does his like half squinty face, and then he says something like that. Justin, thank you for the 10. Hey Luke, I got one more SM question for the road. I'm still excited for Spider-Man, or for Insomniac's Marvel Universe, despite how Spider-Man 2 turned out. Do you think we'll still see the rumored Venom game? I don't know, somebody in chat might know. Did the leaks indicate anything? I'm honestly not sure. Because there might be an update on it, but I don't recall. I think it's still expected, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm genuinely not sure. I'm not sure. I don't think so. You think it got like canned? I don't know. I guess I can look it up. No, not that. Venom. Venom. Google thinks it is still in development from a spin-off team. Let's see. Danamat says the DLC was canceled before the game was ever released or even released. The fact that it wasn't ever officially announced makes it apparent. The Venom game, as far as we know, doesn't exist until proven in development, as the only things found in the leaks related to it were just pitch PowerPoints, but we don't know if they ever went through with it. All 3 DLCs were canceled before the game was released. Venom 2025 date was updated to 2027. Okay. And then he shared a slide from, I'm assuming, the leaks. And they do have it listed. They do have it listed, but they have it listed as 2020, late 2027 going into 2028. But they also have it specifically labeled Spider-Man subtitled Venom, not Venom. So it seems like it may be a Spider-Man game featuring Venom as opposed to a standalone Venom game. Interesting. So we'll see. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I do think that I think the strategic goal is to utilize the gore systems that they're developing for Wolverine and use those in Venom. That would be my guess. That seems to be my assumption. You're right, 53 nights. I'll do better. I'll do better. I had to make one. Otherwise, every time you try to pull up anything, it gives you the pop-up and it's like, please make a Reddit account to see the full post. Drives me crazy. Real quick, news breaking, sort of. There's a leak, guys. A leaked memo coming from the head of Xbox. Head of Xbox. The title of the article from The Verge talking about these leaks is, quote, Xbox Game Pass has become too expensive, says the new Xbox chief in a new leaked memo. My guess and suspicion has been from the outset that I don't think it makes sense to have like Call of Duty on Game Pass day one, especially because the research was showing that represented roughly a $300 million loss in revenue. That by having it like that, it represented a massive risk of just downside. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. If you're going to lose $300 million to maybe get a few people to sign up, it just doesn't make sense. And in order to cover that $300 million loss, I mean, people joke about like the Concord tax. I think there's a Call of Duty tax. Like, I think that there's a tax for these massive games that cost $1 billion every year to make. And they've got to cover that cost somehow. And it's covered by putting it in Game Pass because they're not getting that through $60, $70 copies at the store because people are just playing it through Game Pass. But apparently, Asha is talking about this. Asha Sharma has signaled that Xbox Game Pass pricing is about to change. In an internal memo to Xbox employees obtained by The Verge, Sharma admits that, quote, Game Pass has become too expensive for players and that Microsoft needs a better value equation. Microsoft talking about value. Game Pass is central to gaming value on Xbox. It's also clear that the current model isn't the final one. Short term, Game Pass has become too expensive for players, so we need a better value equation. Long term, we will evolve Game Pass into a more flexible system, which will take time to test and learn around. Microsoft, of course, hiked the price of Game Pass Ultimate to $29.99 per month last year, a massive 50% hike. The company tried to justify the price hike with a variety of upgrades across all of its Xbox Game Pass tiers, but the cost increase has clearly taken its toll. I mean, I know for one, like, I got rid of my Game Pass Ultimate when they did that, because I was like, bro, like $30. Are we being real right now? Like 30? Or seriously? What are we doing? And so, and I know like at least one of my, actually I think two of my brothers also canceled theirs. One of my friends canceled his. I know because we were going to play some multiplayer game that was on Game Pass, but he didn't have it anymore. And so, and like none of us had it anymore. And so we had to go and like buy it like a loser, you know, but that's what happens when you raise the price like that. It gets to the point where it's like, what are we doing? I understand that part of the cost increase for Game Pass was down to Microsoft's decision to add Call of Duty into the subscription service. I reported nearly 2 years ago that Microsoft had been debating whether to put new releases of Call of Duty into Game Pass, with the concerns from some of the company at the time that the revenue generated from typical Call of Duty sales would be undermined by Game Pass. Microsoft went on to add Call of Duty Game Pass to Game Pass in the summer of 2024, which was certainly the case. And as I've mentioned before, Call of Duty, 300 millions. Let's see. Yeah, this, just based on some math, here it is. This one. So this was an article from Bloomberg. So quick key takeaways. After the price hikes, they did all this. The price hike and other changes to Game Pass plans are a significant sign that Xbox's big streaming push is still not generating the revenue it would like, according to interviews with current and former Xbox employees. Xbox gave up more than $300 million in sales of the title Call of Duty on console and PC last year, according to one of the former employees, as putting the game on the streaming service cut into sales of higher margin games. Which makes sense. I mean, because if you can get the game through Game Pass for $20 at the time, $20 for the Ultimate, instead of 70, you'll just do that. Because why not? Why not? Over the weekend, Windows Central's Jez Corden hinted that Microsoft might be about to take Call of Duty out of Game Pass. Quote, if they take Call of Duty out of Game Pass this year, which is a possibility from what I've heard, I think it will kind of reveal some of the cracks in the strategy, possibly. Which I think is fair. I don't think it ever really made sense to add Call of Duty. It was one of those things that they clearly were doing because they thought if Call of Duty is there and we get 50% of all Call of Duty players to just sign up for Game Pass and they keep their subscription, that will print money for us. But that's not seemingly what happened. And it ended up costing them a lot of money in turn. Sharma references, quote, the online chatter about the rumors of Microsoft changing the Game Pass pricing and says she'll go deeper with Xbox employees next week. I wouldn't expect any immediate price changes in the coming days, but it certainly seems that Sharma is aware of the Game Pass pricing issues and is getting ready to address them in the coming weeks. This is also, it's been rumored that upper brass at Microsoft lowered the profitability minimums for Xbox, specifically that they're trying to constrict the required margin. So previously they were talking about like oh my god, my brain just fried. Oh, that's so weird. That's so weird. My brain just totally fried. Dude, that's insane. My brain just went full like reboot mode in the middle of a sentence. That's weird, dude. This is a weird feeling. That's freaking weird. It's bizarre. Anyway, I'll backtrack and let Jacob try to make sense of it when he cuts this. Yeah, old. Just old. Old boomer. He's old. He's dying. So anyway, yeah, exactly. I call it chandelier. Call me asparagus. So anyway, what I was trying to say, I think maybe before I had a break like this, instead of charging, yes, thank you, Jonah, or Jonathan. Sorry, not Jonah. Jonathan. I think what happened is instead of charging 30% margin or demanding 30% margin, so 30 cents on every dollar, they now are being like, okay, we only need 10 cents per dollar. And that little bitty change means that all of a sudden they have a lot more wiggle room. So they can spend money on things they couldn't spend money on before. They can start to increase expenses on stuff that maybe doesn't directly correlate to profit, but that maybe earns more goodwill. Things like UI upgrades and updates, things like overhauling more direct customer facing interactions, overhauling websites, the the actual Xbox platform and store and app. Basically all these areas they previously had to cut and make adjustments to spending in order to get closer to that 30% margin, to lower expenses. They now have a little bit more wiggle room. And that also means that they can potentially lower the costs of each of the tiers. And this is like the clear thing. If Asha wants, I think if she's actually trying to turn this around, all she needs to do is get in, listen to the feedback, act on it, and rebuild. And also be hungry. Like if she's able to come in and directly respond and react to a lot of the specific like points of frustration, let's just say, I think that they could actually see market share getting reclaimed, because PlayStation historically, when they get comfy, they make mistakes, and when they get comfy, they get greedy. And if they are able to come in, Xbox, and price things lower, maybe eat some of the cost of next gen hardware, maybe try to lower the cost of Game Pass, try to lower the barrier to entry for all of these different aspects of their business model, it could actually see some competition introduced to the whole system that we haven't seen in years. Because for several years, it's just been Sony doing whatever they want to do. Xbox is not really competing. And I think it'd be really good if they can start competing. Luke needs a candle to take the edge off. Dude, for real. For real. I'm on edge. Okay. Oh, should we talk about this real quick? Should we talk about this? New little leak. I just saw this, so I don't know exactly what it says, but we should see. Oh, Shiny Hunters just released the Rockstar data breach files. Oh, they did? We'll have to see what it actually includes. Where is it? Yeah, no, they did. Yeah, so I guess breaking news. Breaking news. It does appear Shiny Hunters have released the Rockstar Games data breach. So we do not operate a Telegram channel. This data was never for sale, like reported on X. You can see 78.6 million total records, Snowflake records, allowing people to download it. I heavily like demand, suggest, whatever. Don't download it, okay? Shocker. People who hack into companies and steal data, they're not the most reliable when it comes to your online security. So whether this is real or not, don't download it. Okay? Just don't. That's a bad idea. Even if you're like, oh, I might see something about DC. Don't. Just don't. It sounds like a great way to get your computer bricked. You know, just don't. Please. I can't believe I have to say this, but please don't. So very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. I don't know what is included in those. Rockstar doesn't seem too concerned about it, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I'm sure we'll find out more about that over the coming weeks. Interesting. Okay. The other one I wanted to mention real quick. I'm gonna do it because I told you not. You told me not to, and then we just see offline. Oh, his computer's bricked. Oh, well, there it goes. That's it. Yesterday you said tomorrow, so just do it. Just do it. Real quick, Zephyrus just clipped this. Okay. My lungs are not happy. New thing to talk about. Leak, segment, whatever. Dude, my brain is fried. I'm totally fried. Okay. If you guys missed it, there is a leak. A Black Flag remake leak. Shocker. I know. Stunned. This first time this is leaked as far as I'm aware. Basically, there is a rating that, as we all know, there's rating boards all throughout the world, but there's a rating board specifically in Indonesia that rates games based on, what the contents are. And they accidentally published their rating for the Black Flag Resynced early. What they said was clipped by Zephyrus, as you can see here. Quote, "This title breathes new life into a fan favorite while remaining carefully faithful to the spirit of the original. It follows the story of charismatic pirate and assassin Edward Kenway as he adventures through 18th century Caribbean with parkours in cities and battles at seas." I don't know how much, there might be like awkward translations because some of the plurals are weird. In search of fortune and glory. Modernized in 2026, the new game includes a cast of new characters and stories. New characters and stories. Now, we've heard rumblings that they were going to add in cut content. So that they were going to add in stuff that was going to be in the game that they trimmed out. That could be what this is. There's also indications of maybe some translation issues. So it could be maybe it's translated in a way where it's supposed to be like, the new game includes a fresh cast of characters and stories, or a fresh version of the characters and story. It could be a translation thing. But I don't know. That's weird. I don't really know what that means. I don't know what that means. Now, this type of leak it's not new. Apparently, this same exact ratings board also accidentally leaked the rating for 007. So they just keep doing this. It's becoming a pattern, honestly. But I don't know what to make of that, honestly. I really don't. I expect there to be some new stuff in the remake, to be clear. I don't expect it to just be like a very lazy remaster. I expect it to have like a bit more effort put into it and for some new content stuff. That's kind of what I'm expecting. But specifically, a cast of new characters and stories, that took me by surprise. But honestly, we should realistically, according to the leaks, we should be hearing about it in like 3 days. So on Thursday, we should know. Allegedly, hypothetically. But who knows? Indonesian has a different way of pluralization. That might be it. Interesting. So you're saying specifically because like parkours in cities and battles at seas instead of with parkour in cities and battle at seas, or battles at sea, which would be how I would expect it to be written, is parkour in cities and battle at sea, or battles at sea. So because the plurals are weird, maybe it's also the cast of new characters and stories. The plurality there is also, even if it's like in a new story, like a new story quest line or something. That's kind of what I'm expecting, because that was leaked last year, was that they were going to add in some stuff that was cut. And so if there's like a new character or two as part of that, that would make sense. But yeah, it's just phrased kind of weirdly. It's phrased kind of weirdly. But yeah, it's still up. The website is still up. PC, PlayStation 5, and Series X and S. What's surprising, I thought maybe there was a chance it was going to come to Switch too. It doesn't look like it though. So there you go. There you go, friends. I don't know what to make of it. It could be referring to modern day stuff. Yeah, I think to be clear, there is a version. There's kind of two ways of reading this, which is that they have like redone some of the cast. They've rewritten chunks of like the main story, like worst case scenario that they've done all of that stuff. I don't think that even jives with what you see here, where they're describing how it's like carefully faithful to the spirit of the original. Like, so that's the worst case scenario. Maybe that is what it is. I don't know. The other version or other explanation is that it's a clunky translation, and / it is that there are new characters and a new story or stories related to the cut content that's been added. That was leaked by, I believe it was Jeux Vidéo Magazine, which was that French YouTube channel that had leaked a bunch of stuff about it and said that they were adding in cut content. And so that could represent new characters and stories in a way that I don't think would upset players. I think players would see that and be like, oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Especially because I expect that they're going to announce this with Jean Guidon announcing it. And he was the original creative director on the game. So he's going to be able to come on camera and say like, yeah, when I worked on this back in 2012, you know, we wanted to put these quests in the game. We couldn't do that because we ran out of time. Now we put it in the game. I think that'll go a long way, you know. Real serious, what are the chances they're just including Freedom Cry, and that's what this is alluding to? Oh, that's clever, Real Serious. That's clever. I didn't even think about that. But that does kind of make sense. If you guys don't know, if you don't know, because I understand it's more of a niche thing, but Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry is basically like a little bitty spin-off where what's his name? The protagonist in this, Adewale. Yes, Adewale. It's very, very well done. It's again little known. It doesn't get enough love, honestly. Kind of like Rogue. It just came at a time where it was really overshadowed. Didn't get the love it deserved. When did it drop? Also, when did it drop? Was it in that like AC Unity time frame? Freedom Cry. December 2013. So even before that, it just kind of snuck in. Yeah, it turned into a standalone game, but it was very good. So maybe that's what they do. Because he was like Edward's right-hand man, and then they basically gave him his own mini game. And if they just added that in to the remaster, that could totally explain it. Interesting. Yeah, it was much more assassin focused than Black Flag was. Black Flag leaned heavily into like the open world adventuring, but yeah, that would be interesting, and that would explain it. That could be it. You never know. That could be it. So anyway, we'll see what happens with it. Like I said, we should find out probably on Thursday. That's what the leaks are saying. So if either way, if it's the worst case scenario or best case scenario, and it's just adding cut content we always wanted, then either way, we should see it very, very soon. And I'm excited, dude, because either way, we're gonna have videos to make. Either way, tell you what, character switching. Oh, like they added AC Shadows character switching, but it's Edward and Adewale. That, don't get my hopes up. That would actually be kind of cool. You can say spin-off this time, Luke. This time it works. Yeah, dude. What game was it that pissed people off when I said it was a spin-off? I did say that about a game and it really triggered people. What game was that? Yeah, there was a game where I described it as a spin-off. Was it Night Rain? Was it that I said Night Rain was like an Elden Ring spin-off and it triggered the hell out of some people? It was crazy. I was like, oh, okay. I gotta send everything I say through a lawyer. We gotta approve all of it. Yeah, it was crazy, man. It was crazy. Yeah, Armored Core 6? Oh, yeah, I remember, because I said it was like a spin-off project. I was trying to say it's like a spin-off project, because I was saying it wasn't done by Hidetaka Miyazaki. It was a spin-off project done by like one of his producers. I think the combat director or something. And yeah, dude, people are actually, it's not a spin-off. It's a mainline Armored Core game. I was trying to say it's not like their primary game. It's like not the Hidetaka Miyazaki game. It's like a secondary team that's doing it. But okay, you just can't say nothing. Can't say nothing. So we think it's going to be announced first and then released later. The leaks are suggesting it's announced here and then released in, like, I think Insider Gaming said July. So I think that's what it is. Again, I've said for like 6 months that I think the best way to do this would be to just shadow drop it, but we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, let's do, actually I got through this. He's also in Rogue, by the way. Dude, it's been too long. It's been too long. I'm trying to remember that. Oh, yeah, dude. Dude, how did I forget that? Dude, yeah. And it's like, yeah, it's like a big moment. It's a big moment. Dude, that's crazy. Dude, I need to replay Rogue. I need to replay Rogue bad. Oh, I forgot how good it is. It's been like 7 years since I played it last, I think. It's been a long time. I need to do it. Oh, yeah, it's so good. Anyway, he references Edward and how he would be ashamed of Hatham. Yeah, dude, there's so much there. They did a lot of really good work with yeah, I was going to show it, Ronan, but then I was like, that might actually, I know the game is like over a decade old, but like that's such a cool moment. I can't believe I forgot about that. That's crazy. I need to replay it. That's what I need to do. I have the Nintendo Switch AC Black Flag. They did this like double package. I don't know if you've seen it. The Rebel Collection. What the hell is it doing? It's making me verify my country, but I can only select Australia or New Zealand. Oh, because it did. Why did it only show me the Australian version? Okay, whatever. The point is, they did a package where they put Black Flag and Rogue together, and you can play it like in the same package under the same, like you boot up the game and then you select which one. And that's how I've been going through Black Flag again. But I need to just boot into Rogue and redo that. That would be, yeah, that might be what I need to do. Especially if we're not getting the remake until July. I think that's the way to do it. Ask Jor to hook you up. Yeah, he's got those Australian connections. Yeah, being a local. Okay. Let's see. Tejas, thank you, or Tejas, thank you for the sub over on Twitch, my friend. Appreciate you. Okay. Well, fam, I am going to call it there. As you can hear, my voice is starting to go out a little bit, so I'm not going to push it. I'm going to call it there. I've got some stuff to record. We'll have a video on the main channel out tomorrow, which hopefully you guys find interesting. And it sounds like we're going to have a lot to react to on Thursday. So we'll see what that's like, because we potentially have an Xbox reveal. We have Black Flag, potentially a PlayStation showcase, Metro, like a lot. Okay, so I love you all. I'll see you very, very soon. Hugs and kisses. Remember, don't download the leaks because it'll fry your computer. Okay, much love. I'll see you soon. Until next time, my friends. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.